get it right, and you'll have us locked in your sight. So let me start the show off as I always do by dedicating the show to my brother and friend, Brother Eric Easton, to all of those who made it through the week in this city, in this state, this country, and on the planet, and to all of the sincere world leaders that are gathered at the UN. They were gathered for the past week, 2 weeks at the UN. My only question would be, where were we as a people in terms of our representation with the numerous heads of states from Africa, from the Caribbean, from Central and South America, but in particular from Africa that were there, from the Caribbeans that were there. And of course, we all remember the famous pictures of years ago of Malcolm X being at the UN with many African heads of state, Muhammad Ali being at the UN with many African heads of states. Of course, notwithstanding, of course, Commandante Fidel Castro, but so many others as well. And so we should have an agenda, which we as a people will be discussing and sharing, but also, of course, having an agenda that we can share with the African heads of states when each year they have the UN General Assembly, the plenary session. I believe this was the 79th UN General Assembly. So as I always say, right, on a smaller scale, there's the old saying that the Council on Foreign Relations says to think globally but act locally. So we have to have a seat at the table because other smaller nations will do just that, to have a seat at the table, to have the ear of our brothers and sisters through the African diaspora, so that whatever affects us here affects our brothers and sisters there, and whatever affects them affects us as well. And so we could have unity, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that our unity is more powerful than a nuclear bomb. So that should be our weapon of not mass destruction, but a weapon of mass production. And then we talk about and lay out an agenda for our people on a local level, state level, national level, international level that we can implement, and to have short-term goals, long-term goals in terms of planning what our agenda should be. And so if we are going to be an independent people, since we are an African nation inside of America, I'm talking now blacks of African descent, particularly this year being such a pivotal year, 2019, 400 years removed, right, from our sojourn, 1619, as written in the European history books and in many American history books. But I know for those of us who have studied history and what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he was taught by God, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, that we were brought here in 1555, and it took them 64 years to break us down as a people. So if you subtracted 1619 and 1555, you get the number 64. That's the basis of the 64 years. And of course, there were many TV shows on TV years ago. The biggest prize was $64,000. The old saying is that's the $64 question, or the $64,000 question, or the $64 million question. So many don't know what is the basis of that. Why would they use the word? Why would they use that number 64? Because they understood that it took 64 years for them to break us down as a people in order to really enslave us as a people. Okay? So that's why this year is so critical and pivotal. And we would have thought that black leaders and African leaders would have said, if this UN session is taking place, should we not be greeting and meeting with our brothers and sisters from Africa? I'm going to talk about that shortly, because I'm going to be asking how you get a little 14-year-old snotty-nosed white girl from Sweden, right, honey boo-boo with an accent, up there talking about climate control, when, of course, they're the ones who have destroyed the planet. But now they want to pretend like they are the saviors of the planet, and then use this little girl to push UN Agenda 21, which most people don't know about, or UN Agenda 2030, which is part of their sustainable growth and development, which really is not about sustainable growth and development, but it is about, part of the end game is depopulation. Part of the end game, of course, is to bring in what they call carbon tax on the middle and destroy the middle class for the rich and the super rich. And one of the biggest proponents of it is Pope Francis. So when you begin to look at this, you see what they're trying to push, talking about climate change. And I said to my daughters, don't you ever talk about you walking out of school and you in a school where you got high levels of lead. You in a school where they closed schools this past Monday. 50-something schools got let out because they don't have air conditioning, but they got nerve have you marching talking about climate change. No, tell them you need some air conditioning. And you got a little white girl got a hell of a nerve to get off a plane where she got air conditioning, water, right? Spring water, peanuts, and everything else. And going to come to the UN and tell you that they're destroying the planet when you in Baltimore City Public Schools don't have air conditioning. You in Baltimore City Public Schools and you don't have lead-free water, which I'm going to talk about because the city is saying that they got a new campaign to deal with the issues of lead, but they're not talking about lead in the water. They're talking about lead in the homes. So we're going to talk about that. But let me get a couple announcements out of the way. But nevertheless, you tune to the State of the City. Let me remind you, of course, to support Radio on Fire. Their Cash App is $ Radio on Fire, all one word. To support the State of the City, my Cash App is $ SOTC Muhammad, MUHAMMAD. Spell it right. Get it right. You'll see it right behind me, right? MUHAMMAD to support the State of the City. So I got to thank the owners of Radio on Fire, Brother Diamond Williams, and of course his beautiful staff, Sister Queen Nikki, and even right down to the dog in the house. We talking about dogs in the house. Yeah, they got a little dog in the house. So even down to the little dog Iggy in the house, of course, it greets me every time I come into the studio as well. So just thank them for opening up these airwaves so that we can use it to reach our people and to teach our people. And in some instances, some of them, we got to beat them, but not. Don't apply, let it fly, but they know who they are. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Support the show so that we can continue to come longer and stronger. Don't ask you to give much, but give what you can give from your heart, because shows and flows and info like this are few and far between. And if you don't support it, then, of course, those shows will have to go off the air, or at a time that we're in censorship like we've never seen before, at a time when programs like this are under attack and under assault to be shut down, because you have those that don't want this kind of information getting out. They don't want no critical thinking right now. They don't want no analytical thinking right now. They don't want you connecting no dots and uncovering no plots and just putting it where the people can get it, to make it plain to the people that they want to have you following, of course, those who are leading you in the wrong direction as opposed to leading our people in the right direction. So I wanted to get that out at the top of the show. Going to get a couple of announcements out of the way. Then we're going to do a couple of headlines. Just waiting for our guests, Brother Dr. Randy Short and Sister Reba Hawkins. And speaking of Reba Hawkins, of course, one of our announcements, I want to congratulate her and kicking off her campaign last Saturday at Terra Cafe. Of course, one of our sponsors of the State of the City. But she's kicked off her campaign, and she is now a candidate for the Maryland 7th Congressional District, U.S. House of Representatives. She is challenging Congressman Elijah Cummings, and that's very important that we have those that's willing to put their money not just where their mouths are, but where their hearts are. And so, of course, she wants to see a real change in Baltimore, a real change in the historic 7th Congressional District. And so at a time you have those talking about the year of the woman, then she chose to make a sacrifice as a small business owner, as a mother, and as a citizen of Baltimore City, to step out on faith and say, let's make the people support someone who has been consistent and persistent, to say, let's make change. And so she's doing just that now. So you'll be able to get more information from her tonight. But her campaign headquarters is at 915 West Baltimore Street. She can be reached at 443-801-5586. Her Gmail is all one word, Reba Hawkins, HAWKINS 2020 at gmail.com. So you'll be able to pick that up, pick up literature, pick up brochures, pick up T-shirts, but also to support her. And we're going to hopefully, God willing, have a meet up and greet up another one at Terra Cafe with Sister Reba. And I know she's going to be at a rally in D.C. on Saturday, but when she gets here tonight, I think she'll be able to talk more about that as well. And she's one who is a business owner of R&E Green Janitorial Cleaning Services, and she has a staff of over 100. And she's doing just what I think President Trump have talked about with the First Step Act, and hiring a lot of the brothers and sisters that are returning citizens or ex-felons or those who are coming back home and they actually need full employment and need to be made whole. Then here's a sister that's giving them the opportunity to be made whole. So want to congratulate her on stepping up, and we'll have others that will be stepping up to challenge the powers that be and those who have been gatekeepers for so long in this city and in this state and in this region. that need to be challenged, that have to be removed by any and every means necessary, because they become an obstacle to our people making real substantive progress in the city and in this society. And at the same time, rather than see investment taking place, they have participated in an ancestral relationship, not ancestral, ancestral, in terms of, again, going in and out of our people and not putting anything back into the communities, except every now and then you see a new senior citizen building. But you're seeing more of these methadone clinics, you're seeing more of these kidney dialysis centers, but not, of course, what you see in other communities in terms of that which will make the communities vibrant, to develop the community and develop the people that live in the community. So he's a congressman that spends a lot of time talking about job fairs, but not implementing fair jobs for our people. And so that's an indictment on his leadership, if not leadership, in the city of Baltimore as well. So she's going to hopefully be joining us tonight. She's en route with Brother Dr. Randy Short. So I want to get that out the way. Then wanted to get into the show. Again, as I said before, some of the headlines that I wanted to get into, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Baltimore City Health Department, if we have that clip, talking about a new lead poisoning campaign. The new city health commissioner, what's her name? Letitia. You know, she got to be a sister if she got the name Letitia now. But nevertheless, the mere fact that I don't know her name means she's been missing in action since she's been made the health commissioner. The one that was the health commissioner, when they put her over at Planned Parenthood, she was over Planned Parenthood for a hot minute. They got rid of her quick. But nevertheless, this new city health commissioner, courtesy, I think, of WBAL, was talking about a new campaign regarding lead poisoning. But the sad part and the sad fact and the reality is that Baltimore City Public Schools, is that my brother Dr. Short? All right, we're going to get him up in just a minute. But the sad part is Baltimore City Public Schools, and as I said many times, I was a part of Children's First, fought side by side with Miss Sheila and Dr. Powers and so many others, that we had demonstrations outside. In fact, I remember in 2002, 2003, I think, I came back from Delaware, and I remember that we had a demonstration outside Oreo's opening day. It's a cold day outside. And we had a demonstration, we had a rally over at Ridgely Delight, the little park down across from Camden Yards. It was April 1st or March the 30th, I believe is when it was, March 30th. So we were having a demonstration about the lead in the water. And a few of the demonstrators got arrested. Now, this, for me at that time, I remember it vividly because that's when I stepped away from the mosque, because the brothers in the mosque didn't want to go down and participate. The only ones that went down and participated was myself, Brother Lau, I took Brother Guy, I took Brother Damon, and I think there was one other brother, I think Brother Michael went with us, young brother. But when I got back to the mosque the next day, I was excoriated by Minister Carlos and the captain saying that we should have not took those brothers down there to stand up for children being lead poisoned in the city of Baltimore. At that time, the mayor was Martin O'Malley. Sheila Dixon was the city council president. So I was shocked. And I said to Brother Lau that I had to step away from the mosque because I didn't want to create a negative environment around myself and Minister Carlos within the mosque, because where I came from and growing up in the mosque, we both came up in the same ministry class under Minister Jamil. So Minister Jamil always gave me the freedom and in the lead way to go. If there was anything significant going on in the city that was affecting our people, I would bring the information to him, share the information. I was his number one researcher. So he allowed me to do that. And many of the TV programs and radio programs, he would go on and debate. I was his understudy and would go with him on many of the programs. But when I came back after living in Delaware, that didn't happen with Brother Minister Carlos Muhammad. So rather than have that friction, I said to Brother Lyle, I'll have to step away and step outside of the mosque because, again, the mosque is not a building, but the mosque are our people. The mosque is out in the streets. So at that time, when we had that demonstration, that was about the lead and the water in Baltimore City Public Schools. And Dr. Powers and the members of Children First at that time couldn't get lawyers in Baltimore City to bring a class action lawsuit. No Billy Murphy, no Dwight Pettit. All these black lawyers wouldn't bring one, right? So we had to go outside and get lawyers from Washington, D.C. to do just that. And so we were able to get the fountains cut off in the school system. Never got an award from the NAACP, Urban League. Not even got no thank you from ACLU and these other groups. So as Dick Greg used to always say, we got our children and others that right, black, brown, red, yellow, and white. Wasn't the United States Air Force, the Marines, the Army. They didn't get it. No, it wasn't them. Let the record be clear. It was the members of children first. So those fountains were cut off in 2007. If you go to any school, I think there are 157 schools in Baltimore City, and only 19 or 20 of them don't have the signs that says for hand washing only, do not drink. And so since 2007, the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland, because it's still the state of Maryland, schools have engaged in making these bottled water companies filthy rich, from Crystal to Deer Park to so many others, because they supply water. But I was driving the other day and talking to some young white girls, and they said, we've been without water. These were young white girls saying this. They said, we've been without water and a working water fountain in our school so long, if I ever went to a school with a working water fountain, I wouldn't know what to do. Now, these are young white girls saying this to me. Imagine what the black and brown children are going through. But yet, where's Billy Murphy claimed to be Mr. Civil Rights? Where's the Monumental Bar Association in Baltimore City? Nevertheless, where is Congressman Elijah Cummings? This is what we're talking about now. See, charity and clarity, parity begins at home. Yet he's in Washington, D.C., excoriating the Secretary of Homeland Security about conditions that exist in a shelter for illegal, undocumented children. But yet, right here in Baltimore City, it was the lead level with 20 parts per billion. This is a civil rights issue. Now all around the country, not just in Flint, it's in Newark, it's in other places and spaces. And that's one of the things that Sister Reba is talking about. That's one of the things that my next guest, Brother Dr. Randy Short, is talking about, that we must have a multi-class action lawsuit. Because you got city health commissioners that have known this for years. Dr. Loretta Wynn, before her, Sharfstein knew it. Before him, Peter Billison knew it. All of them knew that our children, the majority of them in Baltimore City public schools, are being lead poisoned. Not just in their homes, but in the schools. You go to the zoo, there's no habitats closed because the animals got a habitat that's filled with lead water. Go to the aquarium. There's not one habitat closed at the Baltimore Aquarium or National Aquarium because the animals have lead in their tanks, man. It's not happening. And they got air conditioning. The other day, they closed schools. I think it was 50-something schools again because they didn't have air conditioning, man. And yet, the superintendent, who's a black woman, can come on radio and nobody want to ask her no real questions about that. How is it you got air conditioning in your office? How is it you got air conditioning at Baltimore City Public School headquarters, but yet you let black and brown and white children go to Baltimore City Public Schools and there's no air conditioning in those schools, man? But you did it to an animal, they would charge you with cruelty to animal. They tell you don't leave your animal in a car when the temperatures reach 90 degrees. Yet you got your children in the school and the temperature's over 90 degrees. And this has been going on for years. As on the watch of the NAACP, not just the local NAACP, the national NAACP up there at Mount Hope Drive here. So this has been going on. There's been no multi-class action lawsuit. And when somebody steps up and speaks truth to power, then they want to know if you got an axe to grind against the superintendent or against some politician in the town, rather than look out for our little black and brown and poor white children to say this is wrong what you're doing to them. So I was clear with the stand I took then, back in 2002 and 2003, was standing up, not with Dr. Powers, but the name of the organization was called Children's First. Then, of course, there were forces that came in that operated to get rid of and take Dr. Powers and them attention and eyes off the bigger picture, which was about the children. They wanted to go get grants, started lining up with Phil Leaf and them other grant chasers, but not working to get, again, justice for our people. So you tune to the State of the City. We're going to talk about that. I see my guest has arrived. So we're going to go to a quick musical break if we could. Then we're going to come back in and get Dr. Randy Short, who's joining us in studio. So in the meantime, in between time, I think I got this clip. For those that be talking about impeachment, we're going to get into that and talk about that as well. But it's like an old Naughty by Nature song. Let me see if I got this song, man. It's really sad. It's like an old Naughty by Nature song, man. Feel me flow. And all they say is, here we go again, man. Here we go again. So my guest in the studio, we can go to this quick musical break, come back in, and get my brother in studio, get him set up. Then we're going to have our conversation with Dr. Randy Short. So in the meantime, in between time, listen to this message. Coming back in for continuation of the State of the City. And now, family, I'm honored, delighted to be joined in studio by my brother and friend, Brother Dr. Randy Short. And, of course, as I said at the top of the show, the next 7th Congressional District Representative, representing the historic Black Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Black by popular demand, Queen Reba Hawkins. So let me just say peace, my sister. Welcome to the State of the City. How are you?
Thank you. Fine. Doing great.
Honored to have you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule on a Wednesday night. What we call this hump day. You know what I mean? Right? Hump day.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, someone call it Trump day. They cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over Trump. I don't give a damn what happened. They blame Trump for everything. You know what I mean? Baba Dick used to say he blamed white folk for everything. He said he wake up in the morning and hear hemorrhoid, the white folk did it, right?
Right.
And our people, some of the people, they run around, everything happened, they blame Trump
Well, you know
for
what he
everything.
says,
So
Trump,
we're going to talk about that.
They haven't been very nice to me.
Yeah.
Everybody blames me, but I'm the best president ever.
Right.
I'm the best. I'm doing everything. I've freed the African Americans. But Elijah Cummings,
Yes.
him and his crooked wife,
That's right.
they're going to do time.
Right.
You'll see it.
Right.
You don't believe me, people.
Right.
The fake news, they're not telling you the real. There's his sister
That's right.
in Baltimore named Reba Hawkins.
Yes.
She's pulled herself up. She
on.
has a company with hundreds of employees.
That's right.
And she's going to crush Cummings because he's a liar.
That's right.
Not only does he not fit in politics, he can't find a toupee that fits.
Right. Of course, that was our brother, Dr. Randy Short. So before we get started, thank you, brother, again, man, for taking time out of your schedule and joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Before we get started, Sister Reba, if you would, let's give your contact information where you can be reached.
We can be reached at 443-801-5586. And you can email us at rebahawkins2020@gmail.com.
Okay.
We're taking all issues and concerns of our citizens of this great city of Baltimore so we can address everything that you have and put it on our platform. And we're going to be going door to door very soon.
Reba Hawkins on Twitter.
For those that want to support, those that want to send in donations, those that want to volunteer, phone number, website where they can reach you.
Website is www.rebahawkins2020.org.
Okay. All right. Yes,
And
ma'am.
she's on Twitter, and we're going to have Facebook and Instagram within 24 hours. You know, she's MBE,
Yes.
Minority Business Enterprise.
That's
owner.
right.
And
In this
she,
city?
she does everything. So she's,
Right.
Never has a woman held a congressional position from the city of Baltimore.
That's right.
It's why not a queen? Why
That's
not
right.
someone that's been in the trenches
That's right.
fighting against
Had
lead
Barbara
poisoning?
McCoskey, but Barbara McCoskey,
But-
when she didn't want a woman to replace her, when she left, she gave it to a senator. She wanted to go to Van Hollen, so she didn't
I thought
endorse a
Mikulski
black
was-
woman,
I thought
right?
Mikulski was trans.
Yeah, well, she is. Well, you got that right. You know what I mean? Bobby McCoskey. I'm sorry. Did I say Barbara McCoskey?
Okay,
Bobby
whatever.
McCoskey. I'm
Whatever.
sorry. Yeah,
I
she
mean,
was the sisterhood of the traveling pants.
she-
Her and Maggie McIntosh run together.
She looked like Barney
The
Rubble.
one who really
from the
protected lead paint
Flintstones.
poison the slumlords around here, Maggie
Yes.
McIntosh.
Yes.
And the coalition to continue lead paint poisoning, headed up by Ruth Ann Norton, who's a convicted felon who ain't supposed to handle no federal contracts, federal dollars. But yet she sits over an organization called Coalition to End Lead Paint Poisoning. But they continue to lead paint poison more of our children, of course,
That is
every
true.
year. So
And
before you
poisoning
came
them.
on, before
Yeah.
we get started, Doc, let's give out your contact
Okay,
information where you
well,
can be reached.
One, you can also reach me because I am, I guess I am the ambassador of Black Men for Reba Hawkins, but you can reach me through the Hawkins campaign, or you can reach me through wrandyshort@gmail or Yahoo, or Randy Short and Facebook, or Randy Lancaster Short and Facebook. I can't tell you my Twitter thing, but because I'm not supposed to be on Twitter.
Right.
If you find me, it's me.
Keep you in Twitter jail, don't
And, yeah, and if it's serious, in particular, if you're in Baltimore and you're trying to hook up with Reba, you can have my DC number, which is 202-710-4294. And all I can say is I'm just honored to be in the cradle of Black freedom, which is the city of Baltimore.
Absolutely.
And to be able to make a contribution. This is like, I can't even believe. I've been talking
Yes,
for
we've been
years.
talking to this for
I've been
years, my
trying
brother.
to get connected to Baltimore for 30 years. And I finally found someone I could work with
Yes.
that would, let me help out. And I'm enjoying it. And just this sister here, she loves the city. She knows it like the back of her hand.
That's right.
Baltimore is a great city. I keep
Right.
telling people
We're
how
the-
great this place is.
we're the
And
last one
you're
standing
the
right
last-
now.
You're the last.
We're the last
community
one standing.
on
Talk
the
about
East
that.
Coast. I mean, first and foremost, for basically the first 80, 70 years of American history, Baltimore was the premier East Coast city for Black people.
right.
Baltimore is the New Orleans of the East Coast.
That's right.
And just everything starts here. People need to remember that almost everything in terms of Black freedom has some connection to the city of Baltimore.
That's right. State of
And
Maryland.
a lot of people, the reason that things are happening here, the reason that the drugs and the methadone
That's
and all
right.
this stuff is being
Kidney
done
dialysis
here
centers, the lead
is to
poisoning.
break the back
That's right.
of the first community of Black people that brought about our freedom. So all roads to freedom come through
Right.
the city of Baltimore.
That's right. The
And so-
Sharpsburg, the 1862, this past Sunday, September 22nd, is when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Went into effect January 1st, 1863, but it was because of the fight that took place in Maryland.
And let's go further. That black folk in the state of Maryland, in particular in Baltimore, had like the largest free black community in the country.
That's right.
So, in fact, people were making so much money here. You know, I was sharing with the congresswoman that my ancestry, I've been learning. I had no idea my family is from Baltimore. I always thought they're from down south and they came here. But I learned my folks came through Annapolis.
Right.
And then moved from Annapolis to Baltimore, and from Baltimore to Montgomery County in D.C., and they went back and forth. So if you meet anybody named Lancaster or Gray or Gassaway, these are families that have been, in particular Gassaway, that has been in the city 250 years. In fact, Sister Reba's office is on West Baltimore Street.
That's right.
My family was living on West Baltimore Street in 1840. You understand me? So, I mean, even that's freaky. Can you imagine? I start working with her, go down the archives and find out the street that I'm fighting for liberation from Elijah Cummings or Elijah Coonings. It's the same street that one of my great-grandfathers was rolling cigars to purchase his girlfriend out of slavery in New Orleans. Right. This is like, so this Baltimore, it's, I was telling someone that didn't want to listen, we won't say who, that Baltimore is a portal. It's a spiritual, it's a water port and a spiritual port, a cultural port, a resistance port for black people.
That's right.
And we just need to connect to it. And they've got you, and they've got, you think about it. The last time, the only people in the last 50 years to force America to even deal with poverty was when the people in Baltimore rose up in 2015.
Sure.
And no one would be talking about reparations had they didn't get a reparations discussion out of St. Louis.
Sure.
They didn't get that out of Katrina. They got it out of this city.
Right.
There's something special to being black and Baltimorean, and we need to ignite that, set a fire that will burn all the coons, purge them out of City Hall and every place else. You know they're going to have a meeting tomorrow at 10 in the morning and claim that the water's safe to drink.
Meeting at City Hall, but they haven't told the citizens about it.
Yeah, well.
So they had one today talking about the whole issue of kicking off from the city health department. Do we have that clip, my brother? City Health, this new city health commissioner talking about, again, the issue of lead paint poisoning of children in Baltimore City, but they still are not talking about the whole issue of the water.
Yeah, well, over 5%, over 5% of the children in Baltimore are acutely poisoned by lead. Over 5%, and that's who they tested. Now, that's one thing, but they're not talking about resurfaced lead, and that's the lead from the gasoline, which means that there's lead in the soil from the paint and from gasoline that rises every summer when it's hot. It makes people violent. It makes people crazy. They know all about it. The foremost center for the study of lead poisoning in the country is, of course, Dr. Mengele's alma mater in spirit, Johns Hopkins.
That's right.
They know all about it. They do stuff all the time to hurt people here.
That's right.
And so the lead poisoning, it's not just a problem here. It's a problem in New York. I did a prediction. I went to Howard with Ras Baraka, where he used to get high all night in Carver Hall. Yeah, I said it.
Him and Malik fool you? They used to get high?
I didn't say nothing about it. I just said Ras was getting high. I mean, they were thuggish, getting high, BSing when we were in school. Plotting, getting rid of James Cheek as President Howard. So this is not my experience, but I told folks at Press TV that Newark would be the next lead crisis. I told them in June.
Big article in the New York Times.
Well, no, it's happening.
Yes.
And so what y'all need to know, there's going to be a lead poison documentary on Press TV. I want you, if there's anybody that experts about lead poisoning, please be in touch with me because we need to put together some black talking heads.
That's right.
But
this lead, fake white liberals.
This lead poisoning that's happening, it's in every city. It's in D.C.
Right.
Washington, D.C. I may have lead poisoning. I know I have fluoride poisoning. I had a friend that just died in St. Louis. I believe it's from lead poisoning. Freddie Gray had lead poisoning. I believe Big Mike in St. Louis had lead poisoning. They're killing us across the country. In particular, they're using. The main person that could help in lead poisoning is Elijah Cummings, who's
That's
on
right.
the Oversight Committee
He's on
in
the Oversight
Congress.
Committee. That's right.
And he's literally suppressed
Right.
dealing with the issue of lead poisoning in
When
the
it comes to
country.
blacks.
When it
But
comes
yet
to
he's
blacks,
talking about-
but that
about
bill
that bill.
he introduced,
And the bill he
the
introduced.
HR
HR
4011.
40. Isn't that interesting?
4011.
40. Right.
That he
4411.
4011. Cummings has introduced legislation to make certain that the new buildings that are going to be put in supposedly for the opportunity zones wouldn't have any lead. And that's for
something?
white people. So
right.
white people should not be lead poisoned. But
Right.
the blacks who voted for him for 24 years, this is what makes, forgive me, I'm going to get angry because I confronted Cummings at the Flint hearing and said, Congressman Cummings, I agree with you. Something's got to happen about Flint. But what about the people in Baltimore? I have family in Baltimore. I have friends in Baltimore. The water's poisoned there, too. It's got fluoride there. It's causing the violence. And he says, well, I'll do something. And he passed me off to this Southwest Asian. I guess it wasn't a black person to make sure he didn't care. He passed me off to this Asian dude. And I got people that I knew who were connected from the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, to give information to Cummings' office, and nothing happened. And in fact, right now, Cummings should be having hearings on Newark. He should be having that says lead in Chicago. They can't even put the new water meters. Our people are being destroyed, and in particular, our children. And what most people forget is that this lead poisoning, once it's in the air,
That's right.
it causes asthma. Asthma is the leading killer of young
increasing
black
in
children.
Baltimore.
So they're killing our children,
right.
and they're elected people who could do something that won't.
Right. And the Opportunity Zone Remediation Impact Act of 2019. So it's HR 4011.
That's right.
Introduced by Representative Elijah
Cummings.
Cummings. Yet he hasn't had one meeting in Baltimore City to talk about what are opportunity zones. A beginner's guide to what are opportunity zones. A dummy's guide of understanding what's opportunity zones. But yet he had a town hall meeting in Pikesville talking about crime with Senator Ben Cardin. And the only time he has a meeting in Baltimore City was, of course, when Trump talked about the problems in Baltimore, which really was the enormous amount of cash that's come through the city. And because because the cash had been stolen, embezzled, misplaced, then of course the people got reduced to wanting to talk about some trash. It wasn't about the trash, it was about the cash. That's what it was about. But for those that want clarity, again, it's the Opportunity Zone Lead Remediation Impact Act of 2019.
Maybe it's about the trash that stole the cash.
Absolutely.
The Baltimore City Health Department
So that's the
announced
clip
a new
from the
lead
news there. We can share
testing
that.
campaign today to try to prevent lead poisoning in children. And WJZ is live. Stetson Miller tells us how the department is planning to implement this new strategy. Stetson?
Denise, city officials said today that lead poisoning is a serious problem in Baltimore that can have lasting effects on children. Now, this new campaign aims to reduce that and has an emphasis on getting more children tested for lead. High levels of lead in Baltimore housing has resulted in lead poisoning cases popping up around the city for decades. Well, the city health department has long been working to reduce lead poisoning. Today, it launched a new campaign to try to get more children tested for lead. Health Commissioner Letitia Jazara said today that just over 50% of the city's children between the ages of 1 and 2 have been tested for lead.
We believe that testing for half our children is not good enough.
It's not good.
So we're here today to renew our commitment and to implement new strategies to increase our testing numbers.
In
In addition to the new emphasis on testing, the health department will also work to give resources on lead poisoning to pediatricians and launch an MTA campaign next month, which will target bus shelters and neighborhoods with high prevalence of lead poisoning. The goal is to educate residents on the effects of lead.
Lead poisoning is a serious problem that can cause learning
I think he's been
disabilities,
lead poisoned.
behavior
That's the
problems,
mayor.
and at a very
Yeah,
high level.
I told you.
He's definitely a victim of lead poisoning.
Both of my
If a
sons
child's
were
blood lead
exposed
level
to
is
lead.
high, city officials will step in, visit the home of the child, find the source of the lead paint, then work with a property owner to address the issue.
We make sure the child's in a safe environment. We give them the resources they need and the understanding as to how they get that lead level down as quickly as possible.
All in the
That's
same
right.
household.
That's right.
And why aren't
And
they
experts say
testing
they'd
people
ideally
every time
like
they
to
get
prevent
arrested?
lead
What is
poisoning
the
before
problem?
it happens
When the
because it
Panthers were here,
has
the children got
irreversible
tested
effects,
before they went to
which is
school.
why they're
Yeah.
trying to be
Black
more
Panthers.
proactive with this
Do you know
campaign.
that lead
Live at Gwynns Falls,
interacts
Stetson
with
Miller for
methadone?
WJZ.
So they got this.
Thank you for
methadone.
coming right back. You listen to the State of the City. That was, of course, courtesy of WJZ TV, talking about the new City Health Commissioner, Letisa Dezar, and Baltimore City, talking about this new lead paint poisoning program or campaign. But as you heard him say, Dr. Short, that they're talking about testing the children. But, of course, we're seeing most of the violence. Baltimore homicide rate, as we speak, I think 249 deaths. They're not talking about overdoses, right?
Right.
They're not talking about, of course, the shootings and the stabbings. So a lot of that is tied to the lead, the whole issue of lead in the head, lead in the body, lead, as the late Bobby D. Gregory always talks about, along with the manganese, makes you, of course, violent. He said you get enough manganese in your body, you kill your mama. You know, so that's a real issue. We had a company in Chicago, S.H. Bell, that was leaking a lot of manganese and lead. Now, S.H. Bell just happened to be here in Baltimore also.
Yes.
And that's right there on Biddle Street where the old city yard used to be. Now, S.H. Bell is there. Spinello is there. And Ron Lipscomb, new company, sits up there. That's where Lipscomb used to be, Dorcon, up there in 3600 block of Biddle Street off of Edison Highway. So every time I see S.H. Bell, I see all the dust being kicked up, particularly over there in East Baltimore. And nobody's talking about who's testing that for, again, manganese or testing it for lead. But I want to get your thoughts, as he mentioned, the reporter, about the testing of the children. But we were talking about in terms of our sister being a congresswoman, right?
Absolutely.
We want brothers, when they're going into institutions, when they're arrested, they should be tested, right?
Absolutely.
Coming out, they should be
The
tested.
veterans
And
should be
the women.
tested. The people that are getting methadone, they shouldn't be getting methadone
Right.
at all. But
This-
the people should know about that. In fact, every single solitary resident should have filters to get lead out of the water. In addition to that, there are people like Queen Afua, they're black herbalists and other
Right.
people. We need to be having folks, everybody should be cleansed. In fact, it should be a tax deductible that you get cleansed twice a year. I mean, and just really take care of that. You know, we know that the violence and the learning problems and other things are linked to lead, and I suspect prostate cancer and other things. I keep saying, oh, black men have prostate cancer, we just can't figure out. Hell, I mean, you drink water every day. Couldn't that be a contributing factor
That's right.
to that? You know, they talk about black women and infant mortality. Well, maybe it's the lead and the other metals. These are things that would interfere. They don't want to know. And this is where I get angry again with Elijah Koonings and others. You're in the positions of power. If I quote the scripture, it says you have the key to the house of knowledge.
That's right.
You won't enter the house and you won't let anyone else go in. You sit in the seat of power. You could do the right thing to help your people.
That's right.
But you don't want to give up that seat. You don't want to do what you could do with that seat. And you don't want anyone to replace you. And this is a situation in every single solitary black CBC.
right.
Actually, they're not black.
Right.
They look black. Congressional Black Caucus District. You have the same sort of things
right.
where maybe they run unopposed most of the time.
Most of the time. That's right.
And
They're
the
gatekeepers.
and the unions, the very same unions
Right.
that mass murdered black people and
That's right.
keep black folks from getting jobs. The unions and all the folks who hate black folks' guts keep backing these not Uncle Tom, but these self-hating traitors.
That's right. The Mobutus. That's what Gene called them. The Mobutus.
Mobutu.
That's right.
With cornrows.
Right.
that stay in, that never want to leave. And
Right.
I'm just hoping, you know, I need to remind people that Baltimore is, it always kicked off everything in black history. I mean, Rosa Parks would have never been Rosa Parks without Juanita Mitchell. It's just a fact.
Right.
Juanita Mitchell wouldn't have been Juanita Mitchell without Lily Mae Jackson.
That's right.
Thurgood Marshall was not as smart. That's
right.
Juanita Mitchell. That's why he went to Howard and she went to Maryland.
Right.
He wasn't as smart as her. I mean, Clarence Mitchell, you would have never gotten the Civil Rights Revolution without
right.
Baltimoreans
That's
there.
right.
Frederick Douglass, black folks arming themselves. Henry Highland Gannett was here in Baltimore at a certain point. Baltimore is the beginning and end of black people's struggle.
That's
and,
right.
I've been saying this to people for years. You know, people sleep on it. In fact, I'm going to say this, I'm going to get in trouble. Baltimore is the first place where black folks really got serious about ending the drug problem with Black October.
Black October, that's right.
So I remember seeing Black October on TV when I was a little kid. And the reason I talk about Black October is my parents worked in drug rehab.
Yes.
And where my father's church was, they used to get kids hooked on dope so they could make them basically addicts that did whatever they wanted. So I had a real hatred for drug dealers at an early age. So when I saw this Black October thing, I remember as a kid saying, wow, I love the brothers in Baltimore. I wish we had one to come and get the people doing this stuff to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So this city has, and this community, and those who come here, like, you know, you don't have to be born here to get the spirit of Baltimore.
Right.
Juanita Mitchell was from Arkansas, but she got into Baltimore.
Got in the spirit.
Frederick Douglass wasn't from Baltimore,
from Dorchester County,
but those
Maryland.
brothers
Eastern
educated
Shore.
him on the
That's
docks.
That's right.
Once you get to this place, you're never the same.
Right.
This is our Jerusalem. This is our Mecca.
That's right.
This is ground zero for whatever we're going to do.
Right.
And so I'm just hoping, you know, please, it's not about me. It's
about we.
this community. It's about we.
right.
And I must say, this sister here, Reba Hawkins, I remember
brother.
the first couple of days I was here,
Right.
I couldn't sleep for more than 2 hours because you get so much energy
beautiful shot
from
of
this
this
system. And,
Right.
and the real black sister, too. I mean,
That's right.
You know,
that black pearl, as
right.
Dr. Francis Cress Wellington said.
Absolutely.
That's what you
know.
replace racism and white supremacy with.
Right.
That black pearl. Right?
And
Yeah.
so
Set justice.
we're going to put a real black queen
right.
on the pedestal. We don't care who doesn't like it.
That's right. Absolutely.
And someone that has built on their own, not someone that needs
That's right.
someone that they married on the
Right. Yep, absolutely.
on the rebound, right?
Right. I gotta let them know we doing a show right now. You know, they trying to get in.
Yeah, that's all right.
So
That's all
again,
right.
family,
So,
just
yeah,
tuning in,
yes,
having a
sir.
conversation with Queen Sister Reba Hawkins, Dr. Randy Short, of course. Sister Queen Reba is, of course, a candidate, the candidate. I ain't gonna say a candidate, the candidate for, of course, the next congressional representative representing the historic 7th congressional district. Sister Reba, as we're talking about this issue of the lead in the water, what are your thoughts, comments on in terms of what should happen? You heard the piece in terms of what the reporter was saying, the Baltimore City Health Department and the new health commissioner, Letitia Dezura, I believe, was talking about testing the children. But as Dr. Short has talked about, of course, we got a large prison population, large adult population. And some would say that could be directly tied to, of course, the whole issue of the lead in the homes, but also the lead in the water, the lead in the environment. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, the lead here in Baltimore City is a major problem. The lead hits me close to home.
That's right.
Because in 1992, I lived in an apartment where the rent was very cheap.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to me, it was a slumlord, and both of my sons were exposed to lead.
What was his name? You ain't under no gag order like they like to tell the citizens in Baltimore. You get some money, you can't talk about it.
It was state real
I'll be
estate, but I
damned.
can't. It was Levitas. I can't remember. It was Denmead Levitas's brother, actually.
Denmead Levitas?
Brother, his brother.
And the interesting part, Denmead Levitas used to be like 92Q be advertising for Big Al.
Right.
Their biggest contributor back in the day, 92Q V103 was Denmead Levitas with Randy Dennis, right?
Right.
And then that chump Denmead was Denmead for sure, right?
Right.
And they had to wait to find them another big Jewish lawyer that they could push on the people. But they always have used black radio as a conduit, or as I always say, a black prophylactic, in order to get access to our people like that. But please continue. I just wanted to mention that when you said Denmead Levitas, because he definitely wasn't the finest. All right?
Nope.
Right. But please continue, my sister.
So with the run, or what I'm doing right now as far as trying to be entrenched in the community. I've been out here as an advocate, same as you.
I bumped into you back then.
Yeah, back in the day, we dealt with a lot of organizations, a lot of activism.
That's right.
Like I said, it's a big problem, and people keep saying, Reba, how are you going to address this issue? How are you going to address the issue of crime? How are you going to address so forth, public safety? I said, look, Baltimore is like an onion. Mm-hmm. It's layers to this.
That's right.
We have to peel back and get to the root of what's going on.
Right.
And a big part of the problem here is the lead.
That's right.
Now, Johns Hopkins has done much research and studies on African American people, unbeknownst to us.
And illegal, non-consensual human experimentation that they've been busted for.
That's right.
So we know lead is a problem here. We know it's in the water. Baltimore City had to actually shut down all of the water fountains within the schools.
That's right. Still
and they
cut
had
off. Still
bottled
water
waters
bust in.
within the schools.
That's right.
So we know that there's a problem in the water, but we need to look at the deep underlying cause of what we have out here with the youth.
Right.
They're not out here just idly just going off for no reason.
No reason. Absolutely.
There is a root that we have to address.
That's right.
And that's where my passion is right now. And also when it comes to compensating our youth that have been exposed to the lead, they have to file paperwork by the time they turn 21.
Yeah, and that's the big issue. A lot of the Jewish lawyers, now the black lawyers won't touch this. You understand? The Jewish lawyers know that this is theirs, and most of them have told the black lawyers, you better not touch this. This is their gold mine that they're sitting on. When Freddie Gray had his case, Billy Murphy didn't handle it. He had a Jewish lawyer, but the person who homie lived in was Stanley Roshkin, one of the biggest Jewish slumlords in Baltimore City, right?
Yep.
That give homes to Christine Flowers and all these people that be running around here, telling me they work with the homeless, right? But nevertheless, what they do now, the big thing, is that the Jewish lawyers that come in and connivingly sucker our people into what they call structural payments, right? That's the big thing, right?
It is.
For those that may not know, talk about how they do that, because they'll say rather than get all your money up front, well, to get your money in lump sum, we can give you some money up front, right?
You know, these attorneys have been exposed now, and I think they did have some stories written up recently, but my biggest problem and issue right now is that you have to file by the time the child turns 21.
21, right.
Now, my biggest problem is if I'm still alive and I'm past the age of 21, there should be no limits as far as my age, as far as me receiving compensation, because I've been poisoned. Our children are being poisoned. So there should be no age limit or statutes of limitations.
And that needs to be a platform thing then. We've got to make the laws. This is the thing about black people and white people in power. We just, on my way to the train station, you know, DC is gentrified. I mean, they've changed everything. When white folk get stuff, you know, even when they get the family, they'll make it a man and a man, a man and a woman. They change stuff to suit them.
That's right.
When we get something, we keep things as they are.
Right.
When the old system screwed us. So, you know, just as a tip, we need to have a effort to say no statute of limitation. There's no statute of limitation for getting Holocaust benefits.
That's right.
Well, this is a Holocaust. Okay, so
a hell of a cause.
A black Holocaust wants equal treatment to a Jewish
white
Holocaust.
That's right. I agree.
And so it's how we look at it. And so I say, let's push this thing.
That's right. Baltimore can take the lead.
We take the lead and we demand it. And this is the thing that's very beautiful when we know a brother like you and a sister. You know, I was talking to Larry Pinckney, the brother from the Panthers that sued.
Yes.
If we
out of Jersey, right?
No, he was born in Baltimore.
He's in Baltimore.
Larry Pinckney was born in Baltimore.
Does the interviews with Glenn Ford all the time.
Yes,
right?
but he's he was born in Baltimore. Larry Pinckney of the Black Panthers is from Baltimore. How about that?
Yes, sir.
Now, he's the only person in history to sue all the countries for racism and genocide against black folks.
Yes, sir.
If we get our experts and people together, would Larry help us go to the UN? Right. And if need be, can you imagine if they picked up Cummings and they picked up that the UN, because they go into another country and they're on the beach.
Act of genocide. According to the genocide Geneva Convention, right?
They get put in the docket and the Hague, you know. And
Yeah.
I
Take them straight to Guantanamo Bay.
I'm so
Tell them
glad.
orange is the new black.
I'm so glad trouble don't last always.
Right.
We have to think about every which way we can go. But the first thing we have to get her in play. We need people talking this sister up, and we need people talking down.
Right.
And we can
not
do this.
talking down. Take them 2 bottles and put them next to each other. Can I
Yes.
borrow that bottle right there?
Yes.
You got right there, your bottle?
Right.
A wise man once said, all you got to do, take a clean glass and sit it next to the dirty glass.
That's
and
right.
people to choose for themselves.
That's right.
Her glass
That's
is
right.
absolutely
That's right.
clean,
That's right.
flawless.
That's right.
Compared to Elijah Cummings.
And
That's all we want to do.
And we want to make
Challenge
this
that chump to a debate.
not only have him do a debate. We need to have a lead poisoning caucus and invite him.
Right.
And challenge him to come. If he doesn't come, that we will take that he doesn't give 2 DAMNs S's about our people.
That's right.
Not only that, I really want, brother, for us to go to D.C. and have a caravan, and all of us take a bottle of Baltimore
do bottled water in front of his office right here on Park Avenue. 10
on
Park
Martin
Avenue.
Luther King,
Yeah.
We need to confront him, and not only that, we need to start calling the Baltimore Sun, the Washington Post, as well. We need to challenge our senators.
That's right.
And
Van Hollen and Carter.
we need to
Hypocrisy.
challenge Nancy Pelosi.
That's
or
right.
The mafia.
D'Alessandro.
Thomas
Thomas
D'Alessandro
D'Alessandro's.
Jr.'s
Yes.
little afflicted daughter. We need to make these people understand that we want a hearing. In fact, we want to know where our $16 billion. Where's our cash at?
That's
Not
right.
where's my cash app.
Right.
But where's our cash at?
That's right.
Cummings, and where is it? And by the way, we also want ethics committee hearings.
That's right.
On the $16 million that she's collected. What's it?
What is
Global
his-
Initiatives.
Yeah, his wife,
Well,
Global
she have-
Solutions.
well-
Center for Global Solutions.
Well, just solved her personal
his
solution.
Girl 6. What's her name? Maya Rocky Moore.
Okay.
Rocky Moore coming. What was she
Yeah.
rocking? Right.
Well, I think a lot of people, all the jobs they move through.
But
in
she
such a
never
short-
held no position.
No,
and
she
they
did hold a
exalted her
position.
to the
Prone.
head of the Democratic Party.
The position was prone.
Okay, but she never held a political position.
No, look at this.
Except prone or supine.
You prone.
Okay.
You come to D.C. and 1999 for the caucus.
That's right.
And then you've got a job with
Urban League.
freaky slutty.
Come on.
Mel Watt,
Right.
a person. I don't know
Mel
if I told
Watt.
the story. I called Mel Watt a castrated coward because he stabbed my dear friend Cynthia McKinney in the back.
That's right.
And he called up to Howard to try to keep them, tell them not to graduate me, because he claimed I threatened to castrate him. And I told them the white people have already castrated you. Okay, I'm just telling you what happened. So she's with Mel Watt for a few months. Then she gets a job on the congressional committee. Then she's working for
She's on the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, right?
Crooked Wrangle.
Charlie Rangel.
And
out of
she's
New
with
York.
Wrangle for 18 months, and you start off, and then you're the chief of staff. No, I'm sorry. I'm from D.C.
Right.
You can't become chief of staff for
In
a high
18
rate
months?
in 18 months.
Right.
Well, not with clean knees.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you go there, and then you go to Urban Greed.
Right. Urban Greed, Urban League. We're talking Maya Rockamore Cummings now.
With this slut,
Right.
whose name is Mark Mariel.
Mark Mariel.
Now, let me just make this clear. Mark Mariel is, although they're getting divorced,
Right.
my cousin's wife's cousin. Show you how small the world is.
That's right.
Okay. Mark is a hoe. How?
That's right.
So when she goes from Congress to the Urban League,
That's right.
I'm like, okay. Then all of a sudden you get into consulting. And then you're married to, I'm sorry, Elijah Cummings has more WD-40 on his fly.
Yeah. Between him, Quaisha, you don't fool me.
You fool
and
me.
Jamal Bryant, when they was at the NAACP,
Yeah.
they turned Mount Hope Drive into Mount Hope Drive up there. I know what I'm talking about in terms of the things they were doing, right?
You fool me was so bad, okay? You heard about that thing with Benitha George out in Baltimore County?
Yes.
Okay, now see,
Yes.
now, I know, right? Okay, no, right. All right. Now, you fool me with such a whole. there's a sister named Taji that used to. You've heard of Taji?
Yeah.
Do you know Taji used to come and hide in my house from and fool me? This is real. This is how I learned. I mean, this dude sit out and have his pants unzipped, banging on a woman's door.
That's right.
And so they went from you fool me to Elijah Cooning.
That's right.
And Elijah Cummings, I mean, I don't know how many children he has. I mean, there was no.
He had all the child support. He had the old
who lived in the shoe, who made so many out of wedlock children, he didn't know what to do.
That's right.
Now, that's my nursery rhyme for you. Right. Okay, and remember, he got in trouble. This is just a couple of years ago. He owed like $240,000 and back. I mean, that's a whole lot of kids money not paid. And the only way his wife got that kind of money is he had to have really done some serious, like decathlon whoring for the judge to want to give this woman this kind of settlement.
That's right.
Now, they acknowledge that there are 2 children out of wedlock.
Right.
Now, are there more?
It got to be more.
Oh, my God. I'm serious. Like I said, there was the old Negro who lived in the shoe, who had so many out of wedlock children he didn't know what to do. Okay, that's my nursery rhyme for comics. So, now, if he does that, is he in Nancy Pelosi's book of life?
Come on. That's right.
Is she like, Conyers?
I knew Conyers. She had a thing for the brothers.
But
that's part of the reason why they had to send her out west.
Yeah, well,
Catholic school girl, she had a thing for the brothers.
Well, but you put it with the gay people, so they turned her out too. So she was just loose. All right? So loose as a goose. Now, let's just do this real fast. Now, so wait a minute. Nancy Pelosi has all these names of people who've done freaky deaky stuff.
That's right.
I'm not saying that Cummings has done anything, but I'm asking Elijah.
Right.
If Farrakhan were here, he'd say, Elijah, are you in that book by Nancy Pelosi? Brother, you have not served your constituents. Could it be that you're in the book?
That's right.
I love Farrakhan.
He's in the book and in the bed.
He's in that book. Or is he? I'm wondering, Elijah, tell us, and why won't they do an ethics investigation of you?
That's right.
And absolutely. Why, all the crooked, but I'm sorry, now forgive me, I'm not a Baltimorean. Right. I don't call D.C. dumb city.
Black radio blocks from black media has a romance and a bromance with them. So they never want to hold them accountable. The black civil rights organizations have never had a political report card to even offer up to the ordinary citizen on what Elijah Cummings has done.
You know what a report card for Elijah Cummings would look like?
Yes.
One of those little bags that the people carry around when they follow their dogs.
Right.
That's what Elijah Cummings report card.
You gotta pick it up. That'd be the report card.
That's what his report card looks like. Elijah Cummings, in fact, he just signed he co-sponsored something that Van Hollen did. It was like $1.5 million for lead poisoning for the whole state of Maryland. $1.5 million can't rehab one building from asbestos. What?
Slush fund.
What is
slush
this?
Fund.
Look, and by the way, folks, not the candidate. She's got to stay clean, but I don't live here, so I don't have a lot to fear. Right. If y'all got some slime, political slime necessary to help remove this person,
Elijah Running,
please
tell it.
Elijah Cooney.
Bring it. The FBI took out a billboard when his girl Kathy Pugh went down. FBI put out a billboard saying, if you know anything about political corruption, call the FBI. Saying call us.
Let me tell you what I want.
You ain't got to call the FBI.
I'm going to go even further.
Boys, call us.
Because Cummings is now a person with anywhere, I've seen figures as low as $1 million and as high as $16-17 million.
Millionaire.
If you are a child, or you think you're a child, if you are bald-headed and look like a Cupid doll that went through chemo, I mean, you can at least get some help. Right. I mean, if you think you're his child, we need to get together and test the DNA.
That's right.
I mean, now we'll get a little referral fee.
Here to paternity.
But because y'all need to get paid, you need to be compensated for you know, Ray Charles, he was a hoe. He gave $1 million. Remember the movie? He gave $1 million to all the babies he had.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think Elijah.
Jamal Bryant. Don't forget Jamal Bryant. He wants to be a reality TV star again, right? Move down to Atlanta so he can be on the Housewives of Atlanta. Well, and he wants to be a housewife. He don't want to be the husband. He want to be the wife. They're having services with Kanye West now, right?
Well,
pop-up services.
Now, forgive me. I gotta pray. You know, I've been sharing this story now and then. I shared it with Ron Hurd, but you know, I'm gonna go back 20 years ago and tell you that 20 years ago I got a call at about 11 at night from a friend named Ray. Right. And Ray is Kanye's father. And Ray had nightmares about Kanye becoming a big star.
That's
and
right.
He told me that Kanye would become a megalomaniac.
Right.
And he and I had a very violent argument about this. Maybe it's 20, 21 years ago. And I've been just thinking, I watched this X Ministries thing. I think I sent it to you. And I'm looking at the stuff Kanye's doing, and it made me think about what his dad said, that you don't know Kanye. If Kanye gets big, he'll get out of control. And, you know, I would fight with his dad. We had a fight for years about this thing. Come on, man. Support your son. Now, you're the one that cheated on his mom. That's how you lost the thing. So, and I'm looking at Kanye now and saying, man, his dad, I wasn't that sensitive to his father's concerns. I was more into saying, you got a very talented son. Push him. Be with him, whatever. So that's very hurtful when I see that. And my God, of all the people for him to get with, and you know, they were making a joke about, what's his name? Jamal. Having a you know what that looked like a question mark. There's a question on him. And that's probably why God made it shaped like that for him to ask himself, "What's up with you?" I'm just really, you know. Did I tell you about the time Jamal Bryant's mother wanted to punch me out at Howard? Oh man! I mean, this was real talk. This happened. This was 22 years ago. They had this thing about black Brazilians, and todo mundo sabe que eu sou muito entusiástico sobre a cultura e história dos negros no Brasil, right? So everybody knows I'm interested in black Brazilian stuff. So I helped put together this thing to talk about black history, and in particular, the exploitation of black women in Brazil. And one of the speakers was his mom. And, you know, do you remember the chocolate mousse commercials that they used to have? Yeah. That's what Jamal's mom looked like. and I'm just sorry, I'm going to talk about her. And what happened, she must have known my parents. So when it came time for us to do this presentation, she talked for almost 2.75 of an hour to make certain that I wouldn't get to do a presentation.
Oh yeah, and filibuster.
And it was cool. So I was waiting, and she had all these hard-looking women with like linebacker shoulders and all. And it doesn't help when they put pads on there. Right. Ladies, you know what? If you got long shoulders, you know, you look like you've been a lumberjack. Don't wear padded jackets.
It went out in the 90s with
anyway,
Grace Jones.
When it was my chance to speak, they told me, "Oh, you have 3 minutes." So after this lady did almost 3 hours.
Right.
So I spoke for 2 minutes, and the audience went crazy. And when I looked down, his mother was cursing me, looking at me. I thought maybe she was, I don't know, but her face looked unhappy. So I went down to shake her hand, and she elbowed me, almost knocked me off the stage. And I'm glad she's a woman, because I would have swung back. We would have been fighting.
Right.
And I was so angry. I was trying to think, why is she doing this? Now, you know, someone I knew that knew his mom. You know, this guy, very tall dude, used to be in the Nation. His name is Godfrey Patterson. Godfrey X. You heard of Godfrey X?
I have.
Okay, Godfrey X is my godbrother. Okay. I called Godfrey. They said, Godfrey, you're in Baltimore. Why this lady assault me in front of people? I mean, she had all the time. I didn't get to say much. And he says, well, you know, man, He said that woman's harder than a cement truck with no wheels. And he says she's a mean woman.
Right.
She don't like men.
Yeah.
And he says, now you see why. If you see your son Jamal, see how confused he is.
Very confused.
It's his mom.
Right.
And so that whole family is whack.
That's right.
And when I was in divinity school, I always called AME stood for Ain't Money Enough.
Right.
Because there's nothing
Right.
African or Methodist about most of that stuff.
That's right.
Okay, next subject.
And again, family, just tuned in. That's Brother Dr. Randy Short, joined by, in studio, Brother Dr. Randy Short. Also, of course, Sister Queen Reba Hawkins. So, Dr. Short, as we move quickly, I want to go national before we bring it back home locally in the second hour. I want to get your thoughts. One of the big stories that we mentioned and talked about, the Democratic Party, was the arrest last week of the multi-millionaire or billionaire bundler, who, of course, has had 2 men that died in his home, Gamel
3.
Moore. Well, the other one survived, right?
Well, he did. No,
The
I
other
heard
one
he
survived.
died. No,
Did he die in the hospital?
He died. I thought he
died
died
since
too.
then? I
Well,
thought he got out.
Okay, if
right?
he got out,
but there was
fine.
Gamel Moore, and there was also
You don't have to
Timothy
remember
Dean.
two people
Ed
died
Buck,
in there.
yeah.
And he's
Right.
friends with Nancy Pelosi,
Hillary Clinton,
and
Barack
Ka-
Obama,
and Karen Bass, the
Right.
one that runs a caucus that looks
Right.
like Uncle Fester with the
Right.
small afro.
Ed Buck
Okay.
Schmelter is his real name.
Yeah,
right.
and
got
he's friends
things for
with
the Black
Maxine
Bucks.
Waters. You know,
Right.
I did that show and I said that Maxine Waters needed to give some royalties to James Brown's foundation for wearing that wig.
Absolutely.
I mean, all those people, Kamala's friends to him too.
Yep, that's right. Kamala.
And I asked the question, why can't they do a citizen's arrest?
That's right.
Now, you know, if I had been, look at my cousin Bill Cosby. Yes, Bill Cosby's my cousin. I have some whack people in my family. Another whack family member is Marvin Gaye, distantly related. The world is strange, isn't it? Now, if Bill Cosby had had 2 dead white women in his house,
Come on.
okay, there's no way. I mean, if Obama had 2 dead, but he wouldn't have dead white women, he'd probably have dead white men, okay, that they would put him in jail. So, you know, I'm just mad. And in fact,
Right.
forgive me, we have to talk about this impeachment thing. You know,
We're going to talk about that.
want-
Let me go to this clip talking about Ed Buck. See if we got this.
yeah, let's do him. Talk about that fool.
Investigative reporter Eric Leonard tonight broke the news of his arrest online. He is live in West Hollywood with more on why this case was filed now. Eric.
Well, Robert, the prosecutors at the LA County District Attorney's Office have been looking into Ed Buck's behavior for the last 2 years, focused on the deaths of those 2 men inside his apartment here in West Hollywood. But according to new court filings just made public tonight, it was the overdose of a 3rd man last week that's led to this new felony case. Investigators could be seen inside his apartment on Laurel Avenue in West Hollywood,
Channel 4, New
which
York.
was the scene of the deaths of 2 men, Jamel Moore in 2017 and Timothy Dean this past January. But the LA County District Attorney's Office says it was the near-death experience of a 3rd man that led to tonight's raid, the arrest, and criminal charges. According to the DA, on September 4th, Buck gave a man an overdose of methamphetamine, which the man survived because of emergency medical help. Then on September 11th, the same man returned, and prosecutors say Buck administered a second overdose. The DA has asked for bail to be
The
set
white
at
man's
$4
meth
million,
is colder.
saying in filings, Buck is a sexual predator with no regard for human life.
Especially
that
if it's
even
black.
after 2 men died using drugs, he allegedly kept doing it.
It's unfortunate that it's taken a 3rd overdose for the LA Sheriff's Department to finally act. We believe that 3rd overdose could have been avoided.
Earlier this year, Moore's mother told me she filed the lawsuit to push authorities to file criminal charges.
My child is not here. I can't protect him anymore. So the best thing I can do is get justice.
Buck is scheduled to make his initial appearance in court in downtown LA tomorrow morning. Now, even though this felony case does not specifically mention Moore or Dean's deaths, we're told from our law enforcement sources that homicide detectives have stepped up efforts in recent weeks in those cases. So it is quite possible there is more to all of this that could be revealed in court. Also tonight, West Hollywood Mayor John D'Amico told us if the charges are proven, the case appears to confirm that Buck was recklessly harming members of this community. Live in West
Recklessly
Hollywood, I'm
harming.
investigative reporter Eric
He
Leonard.
flew to one
NBC
boy
4
from
News
Texas
Back
to California. So that was the piece talking about Ed Buck's arrest. Thoughts and comments, Dr. Short?
Very simply, the man committed murder, but Here's the thing. I want to address the black same-sex community. You guys and gals, even if you don't want to be a guy or a girl, you guys raise hell. You persecute your own black folks in alliance with the what I call queer crow, the racist white gay community. You guys, if a pastor doesn't want a drag queen in his pulpit, you will destroy a black man like that pastor in Chicago that didn't want the man in women's clothes. Right. You'll destroy a man for saying they received that man in their church, loved him, love-bombed him. All they asked is said, brother, please come to church as a man. They destroyed that black pastor for simply asking for that man to respect what he agreed with the church.
Come on.
But when black gays are slaughtered across the country, y'all didn't say not a mumbling word. If you're saying a word, y'all didn't use your closet people like Tom Joyner and others to put pressure out.
Come on.
So black homosexuals only attack black people straight black people on the command of white power. But when black homosexuals are murdered, slaughtered, enslaved, they're weak and they run back to the straight black people and say, help us.
That's right.
Y'all want it both ways at one time. And all I'm going to say to you is let them pass the Equality Act that you guys are supporting.
What's in the bill?
Where when necrophilia
right.
and BDSM and other things will be seen as legitimate, protected behavior,
right.
then if I'm a white man that likes castrating or killing black men, that's a sexual expression.
Right.
They'll have federal protection,
right.
and you guys brought that on yourselves.
Right.
And you know what? The black community won't be strong enough,
right.
or may not even have the will to try to save you from what you've imposed on us out of your rebellion.
That's right.
So, y'all need to rediscover. In fact, if you even just cursory put in Google and look at how these white gays have black folks reenacting slavery and sexual things, and they're making fetish videos.
Right.
Are you folks crazy?
That's right.
I mean, in fact, all the violence, black on black gay violence, and not one person couldn't bust this Jew upside the head.
That's right.
Are y'all kidding me? Y'all, I mean, the way that y'all
right.
give AIDS to one another and hurt one another, somebody couldn't have infected him with something.
Come on.
Y'all make me sick.
Yes.
And
they the coons. They the new coons.
They are the coons. In fact, the term I use is spouse Negroes.
Okay.
I mean, because y'all lit this, and so, by the way, did I say I wanted black gays killed?
No.
Did I say I want black? No.
Nope.
But I'm saying it's interesting that when you put your sexuality first and your people last, you're still just a Nigger, subhuman to them that happens to not be procreating your own kind.
Absolutely.
So you're doing them a favor,
Absolutely.
letting them play with you as well as you not procreating yourself.
That's right.
And Ed Buck has a lot of support.
Absolutely.
Nancy Pelosi supports Ed Buck.
Right.
They waited. Karen Bass, the congresswoman from California that looks like Uncle Fester with the afro wig on, she waited for him to be arrested.
That's right.
Before she criticized him.
That's right.
Maxine
like
Waters,
Epstein.
who hasn't said anything.
That's right.
No, Epstein is friends to Maxine.
Yeah.
And what's that one, Hank Johnson, the congressman that used to have hepatitis C?
Right.
I wonder how he got it.
Right.
Okay. I'm just confused.
Yes.
Right?
No, I don't.
And so, and there are other things. I mean, there all of these black folks in this sexuality stuff being killed across the country. There is a documentary. Have you seen Bayou Blue?
No.
You didn't hear about the white man down in New Orleans that killed about 25 gay black men? And
Bayou Blue, huh?
Yep. And it's amazing. White men who prey on and kill black men and get a pass because the police know who's doing it. So for all the black little rainbow coons who think that they're unified and that they have white allies, they kill you and they slaughter you. And you know what? You're going to need some straight friends because there's no such thing as a black gay community.
That's right.
I told one dude, and I'm going to stop here. He made me mad because he complained about the church.
How about this fake beef between D. Ray McKesson and Talcum X, Sean King? You got to get your thoughts on that.
First and foremost, it's simple. Okay, girlfriends always fall out.
Right.
Okay, you took my purse or something.
Right.
Okay, and this is well, clearly he didn't take anybody's man. Because DeRay still has his white billionaire Twitter boyfriend.
Right, that's a part of Open Society Institute.
And he looks like Skeletalia, got baked too long. But DeRay McKesson, and he did look at that thing from the Planet of the Apes.
Right.
It had the same jacket too.
Yeah, that little blue vest.
But you know what?
That little monkey in Planet of the Apes.
But the monkey in Planet of the Apes,
right.
He actually helped his own kind.
Yeah, he helped his own kind.
Unlike
don't help his own kind.
And as far as Sean King,
But for those who don't know who Sean King is, a lot of our people confused thinking that this white boy is black. We got a radio talk show host here in Baltimore, KY's Whitehead. Well, she is quick to defend Sean King. You say something about Sean King. So for those that may not know, who is this white boy Sean King?
He's somebody from Ohio that's been passed and vetted by people like Conman West and Dope for Pimp Me.
Right.
They built this.
Coonan Kaepernick.
Yeah,
I remember him too.
Or Kaepernick.
Kaepernick, Kappa Slick.
All of these people have the same ones that brought us Rachel Dolezal.
Right.
Signed on it. And I went to Howard with Dolezal.
Yeah.
I told you that story.
So he's the male version of Rachel Dolezal, who's pretending to be black, but all the while
she
she's
was
white.
a fraud when she was at Howard.
Right.
And in fact, I wrote for the student paper and tried to expose Rachel Dolezal. And you know what happened?
Yes.
The coons jumped me on the student paper and said, you just hate white people. She's not bad.
Right.
And I said, you'll see, she's a fraud. And the way she got into Howard was faking that she had some original artwork. And so he's just like her.
Sean King's a fake.
He's just like this gay dude named Jean Genet. You've heard of Jean Genet? Jean Genet was a French dude who was into black queer sex, who passed himself off as being black, and he hooked up with the Black Panthers. His name is Jean Genet.
Okay.
Genet spelled Genet.
Okay.
Jean Genet.
Okay.
And so I've been seeing these fake people for a long time. So I call Sean King Talcum X.
That's right.
He's so. Right. And they put me off Twitter because I went after DeRay McKesson. I said he was fake.
Yes.
And I had a picture of him and his boyfriend with their fists up in the air.
With Colin Kaepernick sitting at the table with him.
And I put a meme up, and my meme was, I said,
that was the picture you sent me.
What's harder than DeRay McKesson's fist?
Right.
And after that, I got put off. I got put off of Twitter. So DeRay, he's fake. Remember, he didn't do anything for the school system here.
Nothing Baltimore City
except
public
fire
schools.
straight black men.
Yeah. They brought him in, gave him a job over North Avenue. Gave him a $260,000 a year job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right.
And so back to Sean King. All of these people are connected with Black Lesbians Matter.
That's right. What they call Black Lives Matter.
And by the way, I have, everybody knows I can't stand Black Lives Matter. They hate me and I hate them, and I enjoy it.
Right.
And that film Black, White, and Blue that Curtis Schoon did. That Black Lives Matter had us banned from all the films. All the film, no film festival in the country can have a film with me in it.
For those that may not know quickly, Black Lives Matter, set up, established, comes out of a think tank funded by George Soros and the white billionaire Zionist Jew Democracy Alliance, right?
And Patrice Cullors
controlled opposition for the most part.
And Patrice Cullors was like basically a lesbian party favorite. She was passed around to
Butch Berkeley and some of them other
Butch
West
sisters
Coast.
that were on the West Coast. And some white hippies decided they were going to create a black movement. That's right. And they used her. And they're connected with the Center for American Progress.
That's right. Which is Soros.
Which is also connected to the Podestas.
John Podesta.
And it's connected to that weak, what's that weak Negro that comes on TV?
Oh, Van Jones.
Yes, Scam Jones.
Van Jones.
So she's connected to that.
Right.
So the movement for pedophilia and all this stuff is connected to the Center for American Progress.
That's right.
And by the way, Move On and all these things.
MoveOn.org, all that's
Soros.
This whole, we're going to come to the climate piece in a minute. That's Soros too pushing that. Along with Pope Francis pushing this whole issue.
You mean Francine.
Francine, right.
And
the dirty Pope, as he was called down in South America.
And I'm glad that Trump made fun of
Bergoglio's.
that teenager.
Right.
Because, when they put that...
Thunberg.
Yeah, look. You know what it reminded me of?
Yeah.
When they put that Kuwaiti girl to lie and say that the Iraqis were killing babies and taking them out of incubators.
Right.
So you get some white girl that's emotional and we're all supposed to just get concerned.
Right.
No, I don't care. And like I said, You know, I love Trump because he pisses off people
he
I
tells
can't.
The truth like it really
people
is.
I can't stand. He vexes them so much. I've fallen in love with him. I'm just waiting for Donald Trump to talk about the CBC, and in particular, the one I can't stand the most, little punk ass John Lewis.
Right.
God, I can't stand
Now let's go to Trump since you mentioned that, because we're getting a lot of our people being deceived by this whole issue talking about climate change. But a lot of that ties into the UN 2030, ties into what they call sustainability and development, which really is part of the end game of depopulation.
Sure.
And pushing, of course, this whole issue of carbon tax that the Pope and the Vatican's been wanting to push on all the nations. Your thoughts and comments on that?
It's real simple. They say there are too many people.
Right.
And I think there are too many racists and there are too many coons, but the rest of humanity is okay.
That's
the
right.
entire human population of the world could fit comfortably in the state of Texas.
That's right.
And the state of Texas is smaller than Alaska, and so there's plenty of space, there's plenty of everything. God made this earth for us to multiply on.
That's right.
That's what my Bible says, and that's what I go with. I don't really care about it's the people that are neo-Malthusians.
Right.
Whenever you hear these people talking about stuff, normally it means black people died. Now, what's happening? What happened today that most people don't know is out of every 10 babies born, 6.5 of them were black.
That's right.
That means we're moving into a black age.
Right.
The population, the numbers, I mean, it's going that way. And unlike us, because black Americans are chumps and we abort our babies, and this is born alive.
Then shout Black Lives Matters, right?
Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
As they just left the abortion clinic.
Especially, especially if you're humping on someone of the same sex, and you're not going to make a black life.
Come on.
That's what matters. And so as a result, this is just another way for their numbers, which are declining. And see, I think I sent you that thing on chemsex, where the guys are adding cocaine and ketamine and crystal meth and methadone and GBH and poppers to loosen up the behind and something to keep you erect as well as open up your butthole at the same time. And folks have sex for up to a week with hundreds of people. And AIDS is spreading all over Europe.
That's right.
On a record level, and this has been going on for 5 years. This is another reason why that little, the one that looks like Hitler as a drag queen and the blonde.
Oh yeah, Merkel.
Yes,
Angela
Merkel. She does like
some say that's Hitler's daughter.
Well, she looks like a drag queen Hitler with blonde hair.
Right.
She's brought in all these men from the Middle East because they raping folks. I mean, it's violent, and I think rape is an act of hatred of women.
That's right.
But at least they're messing with women more than men. They're bringing in horny men into their countries because they don't want to die off because so many of their men are, basically freaks, are sodomites, and they're dying. So this chemsex, which is it's in America too, and it's going to hit Atlanta. And let me go back to the black gays. When y'all start getting sick and start dying, the white gays who have all of the AIDS money and all that stuff,
the benefits,
they're not going to share with you.
Shut you off.
And you're going to end up having to come back to the straight black community that you've shown hate for the last 25 years. And everybody's been under stress financially for the last 25 years. Folks are going to have to decide, do I help this loudmouth, aggressive, rude, sodomite person that's hurt me, lied on me, and should I help them or help myself? And I'm going to tell you something. As a person that volunteered with AIDS, because I don't hate people, but I'll tell you where I'm coming from. I don't think people are going to care as much. They're going to say, let these people go. In fact, they've already done the polling. Younger people they don't care. Right here in Baltimore, didn't they kill that boy, shot that boy 17 times, not far from here, and they put a boy in a car and set him on fire. That hurts me. But at the same time, the low-hanging fruit that's where black people are angry, sorry LGBTQ folk, is you. Because, I know what it's like to be doing a TV show, a radio show, and we were talking about water in Flint. Let's talk about safe drinking water. And someone says, well, what about the gay agenda? And I'm thinking, how did you feel attacked, homosexual, when I'm talking about safe drinking water? How is that homophobic? I said to him, you know what? If you're not hydrated, you can't ejaculate.
Right.
If you're not hydrated, you can't have anal sex. You have to take a shower after someone's given you a facial. What problem do you have with safe drinking water?
Right.
Why is everything sex for you?
That's right.
You can't even eat a full diet of what you get from your boyfriend. You still got to go to the store.
Right.
Absolutely. And that's homophobic?
Again, family, just tuned in and having a conversation with Dr. Randy Short. Let's move quickly before we close out in this first hour as we're talking about, or not first hour, but we're going to eventually go to the live shortly. Got to get your thoughts, comments. Of course, last 24, 48 hours, or as soon as Congress comes back. It's at the height of course, the timing is everything, as we always say. Of course, you get the so-called March of Climate Change. Then you get the heads of state at the UN. Then you get the Democrats now. This is impeachment 4.0, I think, right now. You know what I mean? So that's why I played the Naughty by Nature song. Here we go again. You know what I mean? So I want to get your thoughts on that because this ties into Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, CrowdStrike, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, and all the corruption that they were carrying on in the Ukraine from the get before the 2016 campaign. That's why Biden said he wasn't going to run because he knew it was going to come out then. So now it's coming out, but yet you get the Democrats start talking about impeachment as opposed to saying, let's look at the crimes that we've been talking about. All of this is coming unearthed now, and they running like they insane in the membrane. But your thoughts and comments.
They made a fundamental mistake. First and foremost, Donald Trump has a cluster screw staff around him.
Right.
So Donald Trump doesn't even understand what's going on half the time.
Yep.
So if they had left him alone,
yep,
he shoots himself in the foot more often than anyone else. But when you attack Donald Trump, you make him think, you make him do stuff he wouldn't ordinarily do, and he wants to swing back. Donald Trump hasn't even used his powers as a president
That's right.
to deal with,
right,
okay, certain things that he could have done.
That's right.
They're going to make him so angry until he begins doing the stuff and using his presidential powers. And they don't quite understand that could, and Trump, he would do it. Right. I mean, I don't doubt anything. So we know that Biden's crooked, and I can't prove it, but my god brother alleges he likes trannies. So him and Malik Yogurt can hang out together. You remember that movie Philadelphia, and Denzel Washington said, "How do you fake an orgasm? Throw yogurt on someone's back." Or now they can throw Malik yogurt on someone's back.
I never watched.
I watched it the whole time.
I couldn't watch it
early this year.
It's like watching 6 Degrees of Separation with Will
Well,
Smith.
I couldn't watch that. Him grinning all at the white dude. That was too much for me. I've never
Joe
seen
Biden,
that.
His son Hunter Biden.
They're crooked.
He was the one that wanted to marry his brother. After his brother died, wanted to marry the wife
because his brother was AC/DC.
Yes.
So no, Joe Biden Jr. was a whole, and he's like his dad. The whole family, they're druggy, sex, deviants. As I said, Joe Biden looks like Dracula with anorexia that lost his just for men.
Let's digress.
I mean, he's wicked man.
Let's digress quickly as we shared this story before about Obama and how Obama ended up choosing Joe Biden as his vice presidential
I'll do
candidate.
The story real fast.
Let's talk about that again. For the Obamaites, because they've been under an illusion of inclusion for years in terms of how that happened.
When I read the portion of the book, The Audacity of Hope, I was so angry. I called my big brother, Godfrey, and says, Godfrey, God told me you got some information on Biden and Obama, and you're going to give it to me. It took me about 4 times, and he eventually broke down and told me. Because I said there's something going on, and he said he had a drag queen friend who claimed that he was messing with Obama and Biden.
That's right.
I can't prove it. This is what he said.
I had a preacher tell me he died of cufflinks.
And so I was like, okay. And so when this happened, then I says, oh my God, if they're sharing the same meat,
that's right,
he's probably going to be his vice presidential candidate. Because I said, the book didn't say anything about Biden. So when I called him asking him specifically about Biden and Obama, it put him off because he's like, who told you?
Right.
And I said, God told me. And he told me you knew. Sure. And he explained it to me. So we had a meeting in Jackson, Tennessee. Cynthia McKinney was running for president, I think in March or 2008. And I told everybody that Joe Biden in March 2008, not July, but March, that Joe Biden would be Obama's vice presidential choice. And people ask me how. I says, well, damn it, when it happens, I told you. Right. You'll see. Now, let me tell you what happened. There's a dude named Rick. I'm forgetting his name, but he went to Harvard Divinity. I ran into him in Rwanda. Now, the day that dude, I called him. You know who I'm talking about. Larry Sinclair
had the press conference.
I met Larry Sinclair
at the National
Press Club. I was flying from Rwanda to Kenya to Nigeria that day.
Right.
I ran into one of Obama's spiritual advisors and told him about this, that Obama was going to get embarrassed that day. And the dude had said he had a migraine headache and wouldn't talk to me anymore. So it's still the truth. But Larry Sinclair,
right,
who was the Attorney General of Delaware, came from across the state line of Delaware, Maryland, into D.C., right, and arrested Larry Sinclair at the National Press Club and threw him in jail until the story cooled off.
That's right.
And this is why
Joe Biden is the son of Joe Biden.
And I told, he's Joe Biden Jr.
Joe Biden Jr.
So Joe Biden Jr., when Joe Biden Jr. died, I have an email I sent to Jeremiah Wright, and I told Jeremiah Wright that Obama was going to do the eulogy for Beau Biden because he owed Beau Biden.
So that was their plan to run Joe Biden then. So you sacrifice the son, right? And out of the tragedy comes the triumph.
Right.
But then the story was kindling about Ukraine that Biden was tied to.
And he had
so
to
he had to back away from it.
So,
and Hillary became
remember
the candidate then.
Obama was slobbering on Joe Biden at his son's funeral.
Yep.
And Obama did the eulogy because Obama owed his presidency to Joe Biden Jr. covering up this man snorting cocaine and taking BJs from a Jewish dude named Larry Sinclair.
Kind of looked like a young Richard. What's the gay workout guy back in the day? Oprah used to promote.
Oh, Richard Simmons.
Looked like a gay young Richard Simmons.
Well, and remember that thing I was saying to you that Obama's campaign symbol looks like the neon sign from the gay bathhouse he used to go to.
Yeah, Man's Country Club in Chicago.
Which
they
knocked
up
down
a few years ago, right?
Yeah, they knocked it down.
Obama and Rahm Emanuel was
just at the same time Obama came out of office, they knocked it down.
That's right.
And so black folk, we've been deceived. He was a crook. And by the way, one of Obama's best friends is Cummings.
Right.
And so I'm wondering, and he's so sick, his wife, I gotta say this while I'm here, I'm gonna put it out there. He has an aortic valve problem.
Right.
I challenge all of you to go to Google and look at what kinds of things cause aortic valve problems.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be surprised to find out that venereal diseases are often the frequent cause of having aortic valve problems. Now, don't blame me. I didn't know he had. I read it up and then I went, and it was there. So the truth is the light.
Right.
And that walker, at least he can't chase as many other people with that walker.
Now, quickly for those that again, because you get a few people calling me. Well, do you think this impeachment is going to take place? Please talk about that.
No. I think that the impeachment's going to backfire.
Right.
It's just as sure as when I set up the Twitter account for this sister yesterday, someone sent us a front page article on Roosevelt D'Alessandro, Nancy Pelosi's brother, being guilty of raping a 14-year-old girl when he was 20 back in 1953.
And who was the thug that got him off?
The Jewish dude.
Jack Polikoff.
Right.
That's right.
So what's going to happen is if...
Well, let me digress, go a little deeper. I was talking on the show last week about a club that Kurt smoked. I don't know if Elijah Cummings came up in the club, but the club was called the Lancers Club. And the Jewish judge who ran it, his name was R.H. Hammerman. And he ran it from 1952 till 2004. He supposedly committed suicide, shot himself twice in the chest with a shotgun. It was only after a young man got up, valedictorian at one of the schools, I think it was Gilman or Calvert Hall, and said that he had been, of course, abused by Hammerman. And so in the Lancers Club, all the boys had to swim in the nude. And they were the first waves.
They should have called that the Sword Fighter Club.
The Sword Fighter and the Ed Buck Smelter Club. You know what I mean? But they still have an award, a scholarship at City College, because City College is where they started the Lancers Club. City College High School, where Elijah Cummings and all the Boule Coon members attended, and they have a scholarship named after Hammerman. I posted that on Facebook. But I talked about that last week. But please continue.
So no, it's not going to happen. See, the Trump people, Trump hasn't really fought these people. He's actually tried to get along with these folks. And he hasn't gotten in his mind that he wants to destroy people. But he's a very vindictive person once he's made angry.
Right.
And Nancy and them have so much dirt from that Goat Hill, supposedly pedophile pizzeria that they have. There's so much filth on these people attacking him. If they just begin to talk about her being a mafia princess, and Hillary being a mafia princess, and Joe Biden being a crook, and his switch-hitting son that's dead being a crook and covering up lynching, and his cokehead,
this current one now that was on the board of Amtrak.
Hunter is a crook, and even his daughter is a cocaine slut. I mean, if they really do this, the Trump people really haven't attacked the people that have been messing with them for 3 years.
That's right.
So if Roger Stone, who has a trial November 5th, who's like my Republican godfather, if Roger Stone gets pardoned, oh my God. I mean, this dude's got more dirt than blue
Judge threw out a
plates.
case yesterday.
And
Judge threw out one of the cases yesterday.
For Flynn or for
it was with Flynn. With Flynn.
Flynn. Look, the things that they've been doing are falling apart.
That's
the
right.
other thing is that who's to say that the president can't talk to another head of state for a favor? They do
it all
these
the time.
Things all the time.
The object is the peace plan that they're planning with Russia right now.
So what they're really upset about is that Trump didn't go to war with Iran, which the Zionists are upset about. He fired that I am the walrus-looking pervert named Bolton.
That's right, the neocon.
I mean, they got rid of him, and they need to get rid of
September 11th.
And they need to get rid of Pompeo.
That's right.
Okay, so Trump is Trump is so into his white masculinity, he actually thinks that he can be president and not be a puppet.
Right.
And that's, that song, I'm Your Puppet. Right. He's not singing that song by Purified.
And you heard what he said at the UN, that the future of the world is not the globalists.
Right.
Right.
So they hate him.
They hate him.
And he's going to keep doing things. So once they've made him angry, as he's figuring out this political process, this impeachment thing, it didn't hurt Clinton.
Nope.
It failed. In fact, a lot of folks wish he had put something other than a cigar up there. And so, in reality, who is a Mossad asset.
That's
so
right.
Let's be honest. I don't think the impeachment will go far. I believe that it's going to anger his base.
Right.
Once people start putting the pieces together and realizing that Obama and them have all broken the laws, all this FISA stuff is coming out.
Right. All this is coming. Judicial Watch is one of the few that's been filing the court files and reporting about it. Right.
Let me push back for a second. Why do you both? Because you've said this too. Why do you say that impeachment did not hurt Clinton?
Because impeachment doesn't mean that you have to leave office.
Right.
True.
And they made more money after they left office.
Right.
In fact, in America, the fact that the economy was good, people felt like he should have busted nut.
All presidents make the money after they leave, but the reason why I say that it hurt him, he was at the end of his term, so he wasn't going to be able to come back. But the White House went Republican after that. They, when people say that it didn't hurt him, the Democrats lost the White House, and for the next 8 years, they was definitely affected.
I want to point out someone that's a culprit in that. There are two people. One, you fool me, sold out.
He was the head of NAACP at the time.
True.
And they said they was going to go to court, Broward County.
$14 million.
They took the money and didn't take it to court, right?
And then there's another person.
You're talking about the election.
The one with
when they stole in Broward County.
With the woman who
Harris.
The woman that looks like a lumberjack.
Yeah, that was Harris down in.
No, I used to work for her.
Right?
Kathleen Harris.
Kathleen Harris.
Okay,
right?
no, I used to.
You're talking about.
Now, Kathleen Harris is the
Secretary
Secretary of State. But I want to talk about the sister.
Brazil.
Donna
Brazil.
The one who looks like
Bobo Brazil.
Yeah.
The WWF wrestler back
She has feet so big, it looks like she's been stopping out forest fires. Maybe she should work with Kamala.
Yes.
Now, I confronted
Donna Brazil.
Donna Brazil. Donna Brazil was a head strategist, and I asked her, by the way, what I'm saying to you, I said to Donna Brazil in her face at the vice president's house, because I happened to be working there for a party.
Right.
And I got her the day that Al Gore conceded. Okay, I was working at the Naval Observatory. And I said to Donna Brazil, excuse me, as far as I can see, you're a black woman. You know about what happened with the Hayes-Tilden Agreement. Why didn't you have Justice Department people there to make certain that black people could vote?
That's right.
Why didn't you think about that? They pay you big bucks. That didn't cross your mind? Do you know I voted absentee that year because I predicted that there'd be, because I was working for the Republican Party. I knew they were going to steal something. So I went ahead and voted absentee. The other thing is that Gore, here's the allegation, this is what people don't talk about, is that allegedly Bill Clinton raped Tipper Gore. This is the gossip. And Al Gore didn't want to ask Bill Clinton for any help for his election. So everything that could have helped him win got stood down because he didn't ask for it. Meaning that if he had the popular vote, he did.
He did.
If they had just had a couple of marshals or people there, they would have been. But he didn't ask.
But and also
ask.
he was toxic. Bill Clinton was toxic at that time.
No,
it was still
that wasn't
it was
hurt.
still too
Al Gore,
soon.
Al Gore wasn't hurt at all because he won.
He didn't even want him to campaign for him.
But the point is that was Gore's choice, not Clinton, because Clinton was still popular.
True.
And Gore won the election, but what Gore lost was the fight. You have your buddy has the state power to bring you in, and you didn't ask.
But I think when we look back and as we fast forward it, what we found out that even though our people talk Democrat and Republican, what we found out that Clinton was more aligned with the Bushes than he was with Gore. See, now we
That's
see
true.
we see that that was like a
time has definitely shown that.
You know, but there's a commercial. There's a commercial that summarizes it. Things go better with Coke.
or as Paul Mooney said, anybody dumb enough to be behind a Clinton and a Bush is gonna get fucked. Pardon my language, right? So that's what Paul Mooney said.
Things go better with
Coke. Intended, you know.
Okay.
So, you know better than be behind a Bush and in front of a Clinton. You know.
It's so good.
Right, but that just means that was that right versus left. That was all. That was, as we say, it's all a mirage.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? They get together and pledge in the same lodge. You know what I mean? And them families were so tight, but they didn't know Trump and them was gonna come with them seal indictments at that funeral.
It's two nuts in the same scrotum. Okay,
that's right.
So let's just be real with that. So no, I don't think it hurt at all. Al Gore got too into it. In fact, his wife is confused and depressed anyway, and she left him. So if you listen to that speech that Obama gave at the HRC, the Human Rights Campaign, I think I played that. You weren't in there. Tipper Gore is now one of these LGBTQ rights promoters. So that's probably why she was so frigid and uptight anyway.
All right,
and
let's do this when we run out of time. Can we open up the lines, take calls, or we got comments? So that's what we'll do. Again, family, just tuning in as we reset. Joined in the studio by Brother Dr. Randy Short. Of course, also the Queen, who's running for the 7th Congressional District here in Baltimore, Maryland, Queen Reba Hawkins. So we're joined in studio live in person and in living color. So if you got a thought, question, comment, you want to call in live, Radio on Fire, 404-436-1277. If you got a comment on Facebook, you can post it on Facebook, on my page, or on Facebook, on the YouTube page as well at Radio on Fire. But the phone number to get in, 404-436-1277. Get in where you fit in where you get in. With that, Sister Reba, as we reset, let's give you contact information when you can be reached again. Campaign information, all right?
Phone number 443-801-5586. You can also email RebaHawkins2020@gmail.com. And the website is www.RebaHawkins2020.org.
I gotta say live, I appreciate you standing up with us, hanging with us.
And it's Reba Hawkins on Twitter.
That time you start shutting it down.
She's on Twitter.
Thank you.
Tweet out that she's running.
5 a.m. morning workout with my trainer.
Reba Hawkins. Reba Hawkins on Twitter. definitely give her a shout.
And we thank, again, here live in person, got to thank Brother Diamond Williams, Radio on Fire, for giving us this extended time tonight.
He's treating us like we're white. I love it. I love being treated like I'm white.
Like we're white or right?
Yes. No, like we're white.
Or just tight.
White is right for most black folks.
In Baltimore? No. We're not having that here.
Okay.
No. We're getting a checkup from the neck up, man. For sure.
Well, or at least for Cummings.
For Cummings, right.
Or Coonings.
Okay, Cooning Cummings.
I like Cooning.
All right. With that, we got a caller. Caller, you on the state of the city? Question or comment for Dr. Short or Queen Reba Hawkins, please?
Brother Muhammad, Brother Thomas, good afternoon to you.
Afternoon, my brother. How are you?
Hey, man, peace. Dr. Short, and to my queen, good afternoon to you guys, too.
Thank you.
Hey,
Good afternoon.
Anybody ever figured out that Elijah Cummings is the love child of John Lewis?
Well, he looks like a Watusi version of John Lewis. And John Lewis is the pygmy. I remember that movie Twins with Schwarzenegger and DeVito. Yeah, well, that's what I think of those two.
Them two look like two castrated pit bulls, man.
Or they look like two Cupid dolls that went through chemo, and one's a pygmy and one's a Watusi.
Hey, Brother Daren.
Yes,
in
sir.
Baltimore City.
Yes.
Jack Young, he brought that no good Tisha Edwards back.
Tisha Edwards, who closed a lot of schools with Andre Alonzo as the chief of staff, and with all the money he was stealing out of Baltimore City, and now he brings her back, pretending to be over Department of Child and Youth Services or something like that, right?
He brings her back making $249,000 a year. Cheryl Goldstein, who is former prosecutor Bernstein's wife.
Bernstein's wife.
That's his wife. He brought her back making $250,000 a year as his number one spokesperson.
She is the mayor, and she is the mayor.
she is the mayor. Her title is deputy mayor.
Deputy mayor.
Now, Leon Pinkett talking about he wants to run for
mayor,
president, right?
President of City Council. Leon Pinkett run for
Leon
City Council.
Pinkett has got the support of these bourgeoisie black pastors around here, and these are Hispanic pastors, you know?
Yes, sir.
But we all know that clown was bought and paid for by the BDC.
That's right. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, I got a rhyme for you real quick. Jack and Jill went up the hill to catch a pail of water. Jack fell down, Jill came around, Catherine Pugh's now out of office.
Captain Pugh went down.
Well, everybody knows
Thank you, Brother Thomas, for your call now.
Another word for Pew is stink.
Right. All right. So, yeah, but notice we haven't heard anything from Pew. You saw where the lawyer got indicted, Kenneth Ravenel. And he was tied to the Jonathan Luna case years ago. The story goes that he was the one that called Luna to tell him come downstairs, and Luna was never seen before out of that federal building. Now he gets indicted years later, but he was working for Billy Murphy's law firm. Falcon, I think it was called Falcon and Murphy and Falcone. And now he gets indicted, and he's working with another law firm called Brown, Goldstein, and Levy. But keep your eye on that, because he could be suicided. They revoked his passport, told him he can't leave out of the DMV.
Can't you say he be Epstein?
He may be Epstein?
Yes.
Okay. Now suicided. Or suicided. We got another call, thought, comment. You can get in 44436-1277. If not, we got some comments up there, my brother.
You said it's a perfect analogy comparing animals in the city zoo to our school system and the betrayal of our black kids.
Absolutely. Lets you know and see what their priorities are. Because if you were poisoning the animals, the people for ethical treatment of animals, right? The Humane Society would have the politicians arrested.
They would be out.
They would be out of office. Nobody wouldn't even be having a debate. But again, it's black radio, particular Radio 1, particular Larry Young, who brings Elijah Cummings on and block better for him than the entire Ravens offensive line was blocking for their black quarterback, Lamar Jackson. He got sacked and the Ravens lost. Elijah Cummings been running the game on our people for 23 years and ain't been sacked. You understand?
He's been running it longer than that. And the thing that I was just telling this brother that Elijah Cummings is the lawn jockey of Mike Miller.
That's right.
And so we really need to have term limits.
Right.
Retroactively, 16 years is as long as you can serve as Maryland. That's my idea.
Right.
And that means that Mike Miller would have to go.
Right.
And maybe
on the state level.
And maybe
we knew Michael Bush went, so maybe he made to go the way Mike Bush went.
Okay.
You know how he went.
You know, it's time for people, to have a rebellion.
Right.
As a demographic group, black people are the largest single group in this state.
That's right.
And they need to take power instead of asking for it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And for this man to be a descendant of the woman that had Abraham Lincoln shot in the head.
Yep.
And we're kissing his ring.
Right.
And Elijah Cummings, it's time for him to go.
Right.
You know, and I'm a person that believes in God, but I pray for folks that have strokes and aneurysms, and have glaucoma and whatever. Have stage 4 cancer, stage 10.
Sure.
Just just go away.
Just check out.
Please.
Just check out.
And please don't support his wife to be his replacement.
That's right.
She doesn't rock me, and she doesn't rock for freedom and global solutions. And that means my bank account is full.
Right.
That's the
right.
global solution.
Absolutely.
Selfish, narcissistic broad that she is.
That's right.
And she doesn't have any children. How old is she? You think she has
40 something? Or 47?
Well, maybe she can have them.
Right.
Okay, when you mess around and do that kind of stuff, there are a whole lot of these professional sisters that don't have kids because their pipes are all silted up. They're all battered and scorned. They look like the worst. Well, but some of them, some of them have messed up their reproductive system.
Right.
It looks worse on the inside. You put the little spectrum up there, it looks worse than some of the bombed out areas in Druid Hill area.
Right.
So
Speaking of Druid Hill, you see where you've been talking with Brother Peter Brooks about how they want to tear down the home of Cab Calloway.
Yeah,
right?
Cab Calloway.
Let me make it clear. That's Larry Young, who sits on the board of the Druid Heights Community Development Corporation. And he's the same one to sit around here and be talking to him and selling his mom's legacy, talking about he got to protect his mother's legacy, but at the same time destroying the legacy of, again, many of our great blacks inside of Baltimore.
If the people, this is something I've talked to the Congresswoman about. She's down. I believe that whole block, the whole 2100 block there, should be made into a historic area. It could be a park. Preserve it. I feel really bad when I saw that the grandson of Cab Calloway saying was, let us have 100 bricks.
Right.
So I've been talking to people all over the country. I've been talking to people all over the country, and if the people here want to fight for it, I believe that we can make that an international historic site.
Right.
Silver and gold have I none, but I have a great faith in God.
That's right.
I love Cab Calloway. I love the history of blacks in Baltimore. Everything I learn, and I don't know much, but everything I find I'm inspired by. If they allow that thing to be knocked down, there's a book called Conquest by Demolition. It symbolizes the destruction and conquest of black Baltimoreans to knock down this man's house. And I need to tell you this, Brother Daren, two things I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get a side picture of you because you look exactly like my deceased brother from the side. This is what's freaking me out.
Yes, sir.
I have a picture of my brother. I'll show you. That's
Okay.
one. Number two, I dreamt about a house with a flake green paint last year. When this sister took me over, it hit me. I had dreamt about Cab Calloway's house. I didn't know what it looked like. I have dreams and then they happen.
Yes, sir.
It's the same way, I talked to Sister Empress Filet about this rebellion around Freddie Gray. I told people back in January, this thing, I was talking to you, this it's going to come. You'll see. I saw it. And what I'm saying to you is I believe that we can save that house, that block, and I believe that this whole city can be the Miami, the Black Wall Street, the Mecca, the Timbuktu for black people in this country because of the spirit and the legacy here. And we just need to tap into it. So, but it starts with that house there.
I agree.
And we can't let this happen. And
Take a few more
So
comments
please, let's reach out to us because we want to do a press conference there, and we don't want to wait 10 years for them to knock it down.
That's right.
We want them to repair and put that stuff in a year or two with definite money earmarked,
That's right.
black architects, local people. If we can't save a house,
Right.
how are we going to save our race?
That's right. Absolutely. If you got a thought, question, comment, any comments up there, my brother?
Yes, a couple people agreeing with what y'all saying about Elijah Cummings. They have very negative things to say about
They should.
Elijah Cummings. Somebody else said Kanye West is controlled by Satanists.
Well, he did say he sold his soul to Satan. He couldn't wait for Jesus. And a lot of times they will do that. I mean, he came out with Jesus Walks, which was at the height of his success.
A new album is gonna be called Jesus is King.
That, and then he went back and he wrote the song, which really was from what Bob Marley did, I think, Lucifer, Son of the Morning, right? Right, which he did that one for Jay-Z, right? So
he's the
now the new one is called what?
Jesus is King. It's going to be the name of the new album.
He's the only child of his father and mother. Right. His mom's deceased. His dad has cancer. I haven't heard from his dad in years. His dad, I used to go to church. He used to hang out at my house. I hang out at his house. His father was like super black, proud entrepreneur, conservative type. This stuff that's happening, this is the kind of stuff that would make Raymond West go into hiding because of shame. And his father absolutely hated the LGBT. I'm certain the Kardashian thing, Bruce Jenner, I know there's no way that he could deal with that. So Kanye doesn't have anybody that's like us to get to.
But he reached out to Minister Farrakhan. I mean, you remember like last year or 2 years ago, he went and spent the day with him with his wife and children.
He spent the day
as to counsel him.
He needs to live with Farrakhan's family for a few years. Okay. No. I mean, the minister needs more time. I mean, someone that can talk some sense and not Butter Mike.
Okay. Who that Killer Mike down there? Called Butter Mike?
Well, I mean, he's the only rapper I know that you know. I mean, he should have a. Come on.
Right. Next question.
How can you say that Trump has not abused his power?
Easily. He could have rounded up all the people if he had wanted to. He's not. I mean, people talk bad. People threaten him, talk about killing him, and these folks haven't gone to jail.
That's right.
When the folks did that to Obama, these people got picked up.
That's right.
Trump hasn't gone after people who've illegally tried to take his government away from him.
That's right.
He's actually, like, he lit Sessions, the one that looked like the homoerotic Keebler elf with no hat on. And he let all these people not do things to protect his administration. That's their job.
That's right.
Trump hasn't, he doesn't even understand the job he has in order to abuse the power that this person asked the question about. If you don't know what you have, it's like a person with autism that's like long dong. It's just there. I mean, someone else has to tell them, you know, there's a giraffe or something. You have to know what you have, what your capabilities are. And if the people around him are a bunch of crooks that steal, like his son-in-law, the one that Kushner, the one that looks like Julie Andrews with the short bob cut. He does look like the sound of music. I mean, Kushner, the little slumlord, and his father was gay. I think Kushner could be one too, and that's why I think him and Netanyahu. What kind of? If I'm a bisexual father, okay,
Netanyahu's gone.
and you put your son, you into sex with men, and you put your son in a room with another man who's not married. Do you want something to happen? Right. And if you look at how they put Kushner in charge of all the Middle East policy, isn't that how that stuff? Yeah. That's how Epstein and them show that a lot of this stuff works around this very nasty carnal type thing. So
absolutely,
Trump is surrounded by chump, bigoted type people. Not that that's unusual, but these folks are they're like trust fund white slobs. They don't know anything but I'm white and I'm rich and I want it all. Instead of smart, slick, Nancy Pelosi type crooked people who know how to do it in a more intelligent way. The only person that's sloppier than the people around Trump is Joe Biden, or as I say, biting, because he's been biting on Negroes a long time.
That's right. What is this? What is this fascination our people have to try to make excuses for Joe Biden when he was the architect of the omnibus crime bill, mass incarceration?
Well, they've been making excuses
Making
for
all kinds of
Obama.
excuses for him,
I mean, they made excuses when Obama had the White House with the rainbow colors. Well, he meant to put red, black, and green, but the people, I just watched black people. I wanted to punch more black people in the face.
Said, well, there is no back door. The Negroes has been educated to make one, right?
Oh,
so there is no way out. He made a way out for Obama, right?
Yeah, they
made a way out for Biden,
Obama,
right? All kind of excuses.
Obama didn't do that. Obama wouldn't do that. Right. In fact, even Michelle's talking about how she wanted to leave him.
Now she's talking about divorcing him, right?
Well, she should divorce him.
Right.
They probably have as much chemistry as some old McDonald's French fries. I mean, just look at it. It's just there's nothing going on. The kids don't look like him.
That's right.
All this stuff is fake.
They're trying to say what's the daughter that went to Sidwell, who they said is strung out on drugs already.
Well, all of them were strung out. Well, I would want drugs too if I knew my father was messing with Reggie Love. The whole world knows.
Reggie Love. What's the other boy? I'm telling you what D. Gray used to tell me, but not just Jay-Z, but the other boy that was always going to the White House. What's the Kumar? The boy Kumar.
But what about the
basketball
basketball player?
Closer to your mic.
Remember the basketball.
Kumar was a regular at the White House.
Remember the basketball player that came out, and he was the first openly the NBA, the one that caught more balls.
Jason Williams.
Yeah, the one that caught more balls off court than on.
Right.
Okay. I remember watching Obama give the State of the Union address. The dude was licking his lips, looking down at Obama, and I'm like, wow. So I'm so glad Obama's gone. Remember him? Thank you very much.
Right. Next question.
I promise, if I'm the president, not to do one thing for the black Americans.
Right.
And they'll trust me because they're stupid. I've used them, and I'll keep doing it. I mean, we went for 8 years to that. I mean, forgive me. Go on, next question. I'm sorry.
Next question, my brother.
Polls say Biden beats Trump.
That's the same poll said Hillary gonna beat Trump, right?
Everybody's beat Trump.
They were drinking the Kool-Aid.
Hold on, wait 1 second. Let's do this real fast. My cousin is close to James Clyburn, and so I send threats to Clyburn. I think that was one of the reasons Clyburn didn't support the Gay Equality Act. He abstained because I called down and said we're gonna get that little. He looked like what's that dude? The one on the Cream of Wheat.
Cream of Wheat.
Yeah, he looks like Uncle Ben's with no hat on. Clyburn. Look. The people I know are now looking at Elizabeth Warren because Biden says so many racist things. Do you really think that Trump won't make a fool out of this man? Even white people are ashamed of Biden. If you look at the white media, every day they come up with something new. If they liked Biden, they'd be covering up for him like they have for Ofaga.
Right.
Ofaga, your Lord and Savior, black folks. Ofaga. They protected Obama. You don't even know anything bad about Obama because they
all this
liked
we
him.
talking about is new to them. You know what I mean?
It's all new
to them. It's
but
new.
Biden, they hate Biden. They keep exposing him every time he opens his mouth. Biden gets made to look the fool. They now would rather have the woman that looks like Elton John with the bad hair day called Elizabeth Warren.
That's right. Rocket
They would
woman.
rather,
Instead of Rocket Man.
Yeah, Rocket Man. She looks like a Rocket Man. and it's not so they want these white feminists want a white woman in at all costs.
That's right.
And this is why they're not helping Kamala.
That's right.
Or Kamala, spelt with the C.
Right. That's right. Next question.
What are your thoughts on vaping?
People shouldn't do it.
That's right.
I mean, if it's not good, your body's a temple, okay? And do you really think they're going to give good quality, safe CBD and smoking materials in our neighborhood with the racist Arabs and other people? A whole lot of black folks going to die. A lot of black folks are going to die from vaping. And you know what? If you don't have the insurance, they'll let you suffocate on the sidewalks of the emergency rooms. When are black folks going to stop imitating white pathology and imitate the empowering things that white people and others do?
Absolutely. Next question.
Jack Young is concerned about money paying out from the gun trace task force?
Well, they do the payout. They're supposed to pay out. Got a guy yesterday got a $25 million, and he was beat up in prison. I think his name was Daquan Williams. So you got a lot of brothers who have been victims from the gun trace task force that should be compensated. And, Jack Young should open up the city purses. He's sitting on a rainy day fund of over $100 million. The city has insurance. So one of the ways you can begin to weed out and police corruption is have these officers certified,
and not only
certified
around
the country. Then once you do something that egregious, they lose their certification, and they can never be officers in any other jurisdiction.
And
now, if you got a real delegate and real senator, that's something that they will introduce. If you got a congressman, the congressman will talk about that, or a congresswoman in your case. But that's what has to happen.
And not only that, there should be
cop insurance. Certification.
Right. There should be cop insurance. They should be
malpractice insurance. They should professional.
They should be bonded. As well as they should be, just like in the CIA, every 3 years subjected to a financial and psychological and other investigation. If you don't measure up, you are out. Lie detector tests and everything.
Yep, everything.
I mean, and you know what? And pay them more money.
Right.
Give more money to the good, honest police that are not monsters, that are looking out. And I have to say, I come from a family with policemen in it. My dad was a policeman as a chaplain for 25 years. So they're good people in uniform, but there are a lot of
thugs in blue. We talking about
there are too many
uniform.
What I call the Blue Klux Klan.
Right.
We've got too many of them as well. There should be as few as possible.
That's right.
So I'm with the pay up.
That's
if
right.
If don't do the crime, if you don't do the time, and yes, those people should be repaired if they've been violated by law enforcement.
Absolutely. Good question. Next question.
Mary Bubala is back on Baltimore TV only 5 months after her racist comments.
Well, let's be clear what she said. She was on a TV show talking again, the girl I told you over at Morgan, KY's Whitehead. Now, for those that don't know, not her. She Loyola graduate, but the person she works for is Dwayne Wickham.
Oh, wow.
Tell people about Dwayne Wickham.
Okay, Dwayne Wickham. Have you ever read the book Involuntary Servitude by Jill Nelson? Jill Nelson talked about saying to Dwayne Wickham, who's a kind of sleazy black journalist.
NABAG, right?
Yeah, at the NABG.
Right. He wanted to be the head of it, right?
And
what did they say they called him? Dwayne who?
She said that when she asked him, she said, "You'll have to work for my vote." And Dwayne Wickham said, "Jill, if I have to lick all of the peas, my tongue will get dry before I'm through."
Right. And Kwesi went and got him and bought him because he was down in North Carolina. They want to keep making that commute down there. And Kwesi Mfume went and got him. But quite easy, you don't fool me. And brought him up here and put him over Morgan State University.
Can you imagine?
Now you know why you don't get no real information over there. Conversation is a mile wide and an inch deep. And that's even with a Muhammad on the airways over there, Faraji Muhammad, all that cooning he does over there, you know.
He's a compromised person, and even Jill Nelson, when she was talking about how he was sleazy around the edges, and that's what people in the NABJ thought.
But let's come to Bubala said at the Kathy Pugh was rated, right?
Right.
She said to KY's Whitehead, "Do you think that Baltimore has had enough of this?" Right?
No.
Let me
give you the comment.
These three, play the clip.
Here's her quote. "We have had 3 African American female mayors in a row.
Right.
They were all passionate public servants. To resign, though, isn't it a signal that a different kind of leadership is needed to move Baltimore City forward?"
Right. Now what's racist about that? What's racist about that?
It's what's racist about it is if a feminist, because feminists find any criticism, if a woman pees in the middle of the floor, it's an act of divine divinity.
Right.
So it's the other side of homophobia, anti-Semitism.
Right.
This is all stuff brought in by these Zionistic type people, where you can't say, if a man disciplines a child, he's an abuser. If a woman has had 10 abortions, shout out your celebrants. So there is a thing that does not want black women to be accountable. I believe in equality.
Right.
I'm here to support. I'm not the candidate. She is.
That's right.
I see the leadership. I believe in you lift up your sisters.
Right.
Okay. equality means equal accountability.
Right.
It does not mean I have a vagina, nobody can ask me any questions.
Right,
I don't buy that.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
And and that's what they're saying.
Yeah.
So basically, to hell with that.
And see, when you expand the envelope, and that's why I said, as Dr. Wellesley used to say, if white people want to have good relationships with black people, tell black people what white people talk about. She said, the best thing you can do, tell black people what white people talk about when ain't no black folk around, right? Right? You see that little skit on Dave Chappelle when all the whites and black men, he be like, right?
Yeah.
Right? So the bottom line was, let Bubala and them talk, because what she was saying was that their elections, because they always tied to Martin O'Malley, that they were all part of a social engineering that they was running on our community, right? They weren't independent black woman like this beautiful black woman, right? And others. So what they was essentially, or like a Cynthia McKinney. So what she was saying, and she let the cat out the bag, that now if we don't want that type of black woman, right? They don't want a straight black woman. So the next black woman they want is going to be an openly gay black woman. You understand? Like Mary Washington, who they say they want to run, right? Or they want to run Brandon Scott, who they know is a gay black man, right? You understand?
You know
so that's the next part.
Like the man they had in D.C. Did you notice she had a bra that made
the man in D.C.
She had a bra that made her one breast point to the east and the other point to the west. I was thinking if they need to stop making. Maybe she went to some outlet store to get a bra and it had the wrong thing. But I mean that was just awful. I wouldn't give DC statehood if they wore that bra in front of me.
But look, by KY's Whitehead talking about people need to boycott WJZ and call for the job of Mary Bubala, what she was doing was stifling the conversation that we needed to have. You understand what I'm saying? To raise the bar and to raise the standard of what kind of black politicians we should have in office. She stifled the conversation of them letting the cat out the bag of what they really wanted was to run either gay black man or gay black woman.
So a wannabe black woman or a so we want a great black woman, not a fake black woman, and not a woman wannabe. A chick with the dick.
Or as Dr. Wells has said, we don't want a compromising Cleopatra. We want a fighting Nefertiti for our people to see. And that's what Sister Reba represents.
Absolutely.
Sheila Dixon was a compromising Cleopatra who laid down with Martin O'Malley and all of them white men. And they like Mark Antony as Cleopatra did, right? Same thing with Stephanie Rawlins. Same thing with Kathy Pugh. And that was the reality. And if our people are politically mature, then we can have those kind of conversations rather than say you just don't want to see a black woman in office. Nothing could be further from the truth. We don't want to see those kind of black women in office.
Do y'all remember in Dreamgirls when
good question.
when they started off and they did that song "You Gotta Move," right? Yeah. But they turned the wigs around backwards. I wondered if Rollins watched that movie and started turning her wigs around backwards. Yeah. I never understood that Donkey Kong wig she had.
You mean Pew?
No.
Rollins fake?
Yes, Rollins. She had a wig that looked like, I don't know, like somebody, that had like autism. Like designed it, I was like, good.
Let's get to the next question before we run out of time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The next question, my brother. You can't have a man laughing, man. Trying to get to the next question.
Why is voting important?
It's like saying, why is wiping your behind important? If you don't do it, you suffer as a consequence of not doing it. Now, is wiping your behind the only thing that you need to do to live? No. But it's very important that you do it.
Right.
Voting is only part of what we must do.
Use it to organize our people.
To be a free, self-determining people. Right. And if we are not using voting as a means to achieve certain ends. In fact, your vote is almost like the money that you pay to a restaurant after you've gotten everything that you wanted to eat in the meal, and then you pay.
Right.
What we've tended to do is it's like paying for something, that you never get. Right. And so we have to learn how to get something.
That's right.
And my issue is we know how to do this for narcotics and for sex and for liquor and for cigarettes and for vaping and jewel things. And we can't do it for political power.
Right.
And then what we do is attack the process of voting.
Right.
No, it is not voting. It is our failure to use are all of the things necessary to empower and liberate ourselves. And yes, the political system does belong to the other people. But you know what? So does taxes and everything else. And if you don't figure out until we get our own and organize to have our own, we must do our due diligence to be able to command what we can.
That's right.
And I'm not saying settle for less. I'm a maximalist. I want it all. I'm a nationalist. I want it all. But while we're getting there, the same way the illegals come here, they steal your ID.
That's right.
And they do all this other stuff, and eventually they have their own neighborhood and they fix it up.
That's right.
We tend to come into a neighborhood and it goes down because we come looking for the empire or the greatness to be there for us to simply move into instead of expanding and building something up. And this is the opposite of what our ancestors did. This is a simulation mindset that's pushed by, in particular, coon Democrats and nigger preachers and others that are doing this. We have to separate ourselves from them. And the scriptures say, be ye separate. Separate yourself from unclean people like Cummings and coon preachers with question marks to tell you, stay away from these people.
I agree. Next question.
Does lead poisoning affect animals?
Yes.
Absolutely. You try to get your dogs some lead.
It causes hypertension. It contributes, I believe, to diabetes. It's deadly. It's awful. And not only that, you shouldn't even eat things grown in soil that has lead, because the lead will get into the food and poison you. It will damage the plants. It's one of the most dangerous things on earth. And this is what they're using as a silent neutron bomb. In particular, and the key cities, Philadelphia, lead. D.C., lead. New York, Newark. You name Camden, any place, Atlanta. Everywhere that blacks have a strong community, they have a serious lead problem.
And if it wasn't, why is Congressman Elijah Cummings introducing legislation to say the new housing being built in opportunity zones should be lead free? You know what I'm saying? That right there ought to tell you that he know that these areas have high levels of lead. So now, because they get an infusion,
he has a little global solution.
Of the opportunity, he
has a global solution for white lead poisoning, but not for black people.
Absolutely. You ought to be run out of town.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's it?
That's all I got, yeah.
All right, as we begin to wrap up, this week, as I mentioned, last 2 weeks, United Nations plenary session, UN Assembly, many African heads of states were there.
But not the head of Haiti. You know, they set the airport on fire, and the UN forces are on their way to mass kill people in Haiti.
No, didn't know that.
No one's talking about
Nobody's talking about that. That's an issue that should have been brought before the UN.
No one's talking. And this is a failure on the Trump people. This is one of the reasons that I went after Omarosa. I went and tried. I worked to expose her as a mole. The people in Haiti are suffering. There are 100,000 blacks.
Thanks to the Clintons.
And Obama.
And the Obamas.
Obama allowed Haiti to become a sex trafficking, sexual slavery paradise for white predators on black children. This is what Obama has done. And I tell folks, Baltimore has a black Haitian connection. Chappelle Bas. I have Haitian roots. There 10,000 people from Southern Maryland went to Haiti in the 1820s, 30s, and 40s. Okay, and I have that part of the family. So we should be concerned in Baltimore about Haiti, because a lot of us have roots down there. And just like Baltimore is a center of black resistance, so has Haiti. Wherever you see blacks standing up to white racism, you see the communities being devastated, being hurt, being poisoned, being experimented on in the same way. So that's the thing that's upset me this week.
And quickly, thoughts and comments as we talk about Hurricane Dorian. Similar to what we saw with Hurricane Maria, Puerto Rico was to be privatized from the inside out, right? Now we see the same thing in the Bahamas, where there's been discoveries of new oil discoveries, as well as what they've been talking about, hydrocarbons on that island of Abacos. And the object is to get the people off that island so that they can get access to that.
More than likely, look, if you look at it, hurricane moves. When did the hurricane just stay in one place? When they killed the people in Haiti, the hurricane just sits in one place?
Same thing with Katrina. It's the same script. Never changes.
So I believe that there, if you look at global research,
right?
You familiar
sure,
with that?
Yeah. GlobalResearchCenter.com, the Center for Global Research. Yes.
What they were talking about Iran.
Yeah.
And they talked about how they would fight Iran, and one of the things was climate
right.
weapons.
That's what they're using.
So they
direct energy weapons.
They do have the means to mess with the climate,
right?
But there isn't this global warming. That's
right.
BS.
No.
But they can do that.
That's
and
right.
So I feel that they do want to hurt the people in the Bahamas, and they want all of those islands. They want them cleared off. I mean, they've got the minerals in Haiti. I'm forgetting the thing that comes from the meteorite that they've been stealing.
Right.
They've got everything down there, and they want the people gone. But people need to remember, what was the engine of the Industrial Revolution? It was the sugar and the things that they were taking from those islands, using black blood and black sweat and tears. That's what made the Western nations great, was the brutalization of black people on these islands that they tell you are economically negligible and not of importance. It's a lie.
That's right.
Everything black is good.
That's right. Absolutely. So as we're wrapping up, we'll start with you, Queen. Get some closing comments and once more your contact information with brothers and sisters that want to support your campaign, which should be all of us, can support your campaign. So if you would, Queen Sister Reba Hawkins, next congressional representative for the 7th Congressional District in Maryland.
Yes, she can.
I just want to say thank you again for allowing me to sit in.
Thank you, Queen.
It's always informative. I always learn so much.
Thank you.
And like I said, I am running for the U.S. House of Representatives, 7th Congressional District.
That's right.
I've been a fighter here in Baltimore for over 35 years.
That's right.
Pounding the pavement for the people, for the community, for the disenfranchised, being a voice for those that don't have a voice for themselves. We definitely want to hear all of your issues and concerns.
Volunteer.
You can call us at 443-801-5586. You can send us an email at rebahawkins2020@gmail.com. We're trying to end the corruption as far as the political regime is concerned.
That's right.
What I keep getting from people on the corners is, we only see you when it's time to come around for elections. Once you get in, you do nothing for us. This campaign is truly about bringing and being a voice for the people, and change. The time is now. So it is time for us to actually take back Washington, D.C., take back Baltimore City, and actually truly be here for the people, for the people's issues and concerns.
That's right.
And that's where I am.
Thank you, Queen. All right. Dr. Short, thoughts, comments as we're wrapping up, closing comments, and your contact information.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a welfare check. I love the work I'm doing, but oh my God, we're not missionaries.
Right.
So if y'all want to help a brother out who gets behind the Queen, who will act out in faith and not asking for millions of dollars, my Cash App is #DR Doctor, capital letter R, lowercase ANDY, uppercase short, SHORT. Send me a piece, because I want to camp out in Baltimore for the next 13 months. And while this campaign is young, we need a little bit of bread. This sister's being ripped off. She won't tell you. Aramac owes her $100,000, and they're trying to like starve her as she gets the statements clean.
One of the biggest,
So she's being starved, but you know what? We're willing to take the risk for our people. So drop a piece on us. Now, if you want to reach me,
that's a donation, not a piece.
A
donation. Yes, sir.
I'm
not your dope nation.
WRandyShort@gmail.com or Yahoo, WRandyShort@Yahoo. I'm on LinkedIn as Dr. W. Randy Short. I'm Randy Lancaster Short on Facebook. I'm Randy Short on Facebook. And you can always reach me through the website, which is RebaHawkins2020.org, or you can email the campaign, RebaHawkins2020@gmail.com. I've been saying to Brother Daren for years that I wanted to fight back against what was happening in Baltimore.
That's right, brother.
And that was only intensified when they killed my cousin Freddie Gray. This is for Freddie. This is for all the other people. In fact, my The matriarch of the Gray family in D.C. is a woman named Dr. Vermel Gray. She told me like a week or two ago, raise some hell up here for our kinsman that they killed. And so the best way I can honor him, I can't bring him back or other people that have been set up by the cops, is to support this sister.
All right. Thank all of you that tuned in tonight. Got to thank, of course, Brother Diamond Williams, owner of Radio on Fire, for giving us the extended time tonight. But I thank all of you that tuned in on Radio on Fire, on Facebook, Radio on Fire, on YouTube. Please support Radio on Fire. Their Cash App is $RadioOnFire.com, all one word, or Radio on Fire. Please support the state of the city. We'll be back here next Wednesday, 7 to 9. And Saturday, we're on WFBR 1590. So in the meantime, in between time, God bless, and thank all of you for tuning in tonight. Thank my guests, again, Queen Reba Hawkins and Dr. Brother Randy Short. Peace.
Oh, my God. This was fun. I hope I didn't get you in the